Hello and good afternoon, everyone. You might be noticing that it is 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you're wondering, what the heck are we having breakfast with Boom? It really should be lunch with Boom. No, folks, the reason why...
Brunch with Boom.
Brunch with Boom. Yes, that is correct. I like the B thing, the B combination. The reason why we are doing the Wednesday show as opposed to Friday morning is because, to be honest, TBH, Boom has burnt his candle at both ends, and I'm kind of running out of steam. So I need a nice 4-day block off from podcasting to really not only eat like I'm going to the chair, but to also play games. It's one of my favorite times of year to play games during the holidays. It's just something that seems magical to me, especially because we're very fortunate to have new hardware, lots of new games for both pieces of hardware. And if you are in the market like I was, go crazy buying Switch games, because damn, my collection is ridiculous now. And obviously I showed that off.
You're the hardest podcaster.
Well, listen, folks, we are very happy to be here with you. We are on the eve of Thanksgiving, at least if you celebrate it and you're here in the United States, or if you are abroad and you still celebrate the holiday, we want to, of course, extend a very, very happy and safe Thanksgiving to everyone. We already have almost 100 people here, which is great. I did not know how many people were going to tune in for today's program, but of course, I want to thank everybody that's here already. And as we wait for people to kind of file in, we're going to do the introductions. And we're going to start with our very special guest. Now, you know him as someone that has exploded on the scene, not only in just being an incredible and very, very straightforward, opinionated kind of podcaster, but he's also been doing some amazing work on his channel. And obviously, you've heard this voice on the Basement Radio Arcade podcast each and every week for years now. Please welcome my very good friend, Slow Mo Backslap.
What is up, guys? What's up, Boom, man? Today's a great day. It is, and also,
and why is it a great day?
It's not just because it's Thanksgiving Eve, but I finally got my hands on the PlayStation 5. I mean, well, not my hands physically, not quite yet. It's in transit. We are kind of hoping no dirtbag loser decides to go open it up and go, oh, what's this? Let me go replace this with an air fryer or something. But I got it shipped. It's in transit. It should be here soon. I had to make sure. I said, you know what? I'm not going to take any chances. Let me change the delivery to the UPS location, because I'm opening it up right there on the spot. If I don't see my PlayStation 5, it's going to be some problems. There's going to be some chitty bang bang up in that UPS office. But I'm happy. It's great. I'm feeling good this morning, even though I'm kind of overworked with work.
I see, huh?
Yeah. So, no, this Kohl's.
Oh, could you imagine
the department store?
Could you imagine? Again, it's a hilarious story when you think about it. Now, where'd you get it from? Best Buy, GameStop, Walmart, Target? Nope.
Dollar General. I got it from Dollar General. No, Kohl's came through. It was like Sunday morning. I was up playing Road Company as usual, right? And I'm just playing Road Company, shooting people in the face, doing my thing, and then I see a tweet that says Kohl's is about to go live with PlayStation 5 bundles, and I was like, Kohl's?
Of all places, yeah.
Kohl's. I mean, like, I understand if I wanted to, a new knife set, I would go to Kohl's, but like a PlayStation 5, I was like,
I thought it was a typo. I'm like, I know people who go to Kohl's for like socks, underwear, clothes.
Right, yeah, pajamas. Not your gaming needs. So, but I think the fact that it was Kohl's kind of like allow the scalpers and the bots to kind of not take notice of it and be like, well, we definitely not looking out for Kohl's. We looking out for Amazon. We looking out for Best Buy, Walmart, Target. We scalping all that stuff. Who's gonna scalp at Kohl's? Like, I mean, you scalping your socks and stuff. Like, no one does that. So yeah, I was able to get in. It was real simple and easy. I know it was a lot of people got their orders canceled. I think Kohl's didn't have any idea how this kind of stuff works. Like, you need to put up the out of stock message a lot sooner.
It's funny because we were having this conversation behind the scenes, and I think I'm going to make it into one of the serious topics I'm going to have in the next couple of weeks as we close in on Christmas. I think that if you look at what happened, a lot of people can get mad at Microsoft and get mad at Sony, then get mad at Nintendo for not having enough Switches, and all that is fine and good. Obviously, when you have a failure of getting the product, we understand that right now it's hard because of the world the way it is. The problem, and I think this is going to be a great conversation in a future podcast, is the failure of all of these mainstay retail places.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they were not set up to knock bots out. The fact that we're now hearing stories literally before I went live, and I would have talked about this live on the air. I just don't have the enough information. I don't want to kind of wing it because there's a lot of technical information that I need to talk about it. There was a group of people that I believe put a bunch of money together, and they were able to score over 3,600 PlayStation 5s. And of course,
you mean the group in the UK?
Yes,
the Scalper group. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they got 30
robbing
36
Amazon trucks.
Yeah, they got 3,600 PlayStation 5s and like 2,000 Xboxes.
It's like I said, I understand from a market's point of view that people want to make money, but it is up to these companies to have guidelines and security protocols that stop this. It should be one per household. So obviously if they had 3,000 addresses, then they got away with it. But if it was all shipping to the same address and, their security software didn't get it, this is why people are having even more difficult time finding them. And, again, please stay away from the scalpers. I know that it's, people want these consoles, and I know, and I've actually had people tell me, "Oh, boom, but you don't understand. You have your consoles," and I get it. But at the same time, I would never pay $500 more for my PlayStation 5, making it $1,000. I just would not have it.
Guarantee that it will work.
There you go. And what if it doesn't?
What's your recourse?
Yeah.
What do you know the other costs of games?
Yeah.
Controller.
I've seen two different methods that I think really work. One, Best Buy, who implemented this method Sunday morning as well. Best Buy had two separate steps of two-factor authentication.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's what you got to do. Yeah,
that's good.
And when you hit the add the cart, the first part, it made you wait like 3 to 4 minutes before it would bring you in, which is probably disrupted the scripts that these bots are using.
Yeah.
The second part was you had to put in your phone number, and then they would text you a code, of course. Then you would like enter that code, and then you got text into the store. That was the first part of it. And then when you put in your credit card information, they then had you do another two-factor authentication for that, which really kind of really disrupted what was going on with a lot of these bots and how they are developed and scripted. I think another one I think is pretty cool, and this is in the PC space. So, boom, don't get mad at me for bringing a PC. But EVGA is setting up back order emails for their GPUs. So like I'm in line for one. I'm in line for EVGA GPU. What's going to happen is that when my time is up, there is a reserved GPU for me waiting for me, and from the moment that email shows up in my inbox, I got 8 hours to claim it.
Wow. Okay.
Wow, that's awesome.
And if I don't claim it, then it just kind of goes to the next person. But that at least gives me 8 hours to make sure my finances is good and everything is straight, and I can just get my order in, and I don't have to worry about a bot snatching it out of my cart right before I go to checkout. So these are methods to mitigate these issues with scalpers and bots. But the issue is retailers don't care, because a lot of these retailers don't care because whether they put in additional work on their store and their web service to make sure that this stuff doesn't happen, the amount of money they're making off the sale is the same. Whether a bot takes all the inventory or actual real gamers get it, they're still selling out all of their stock.
They're still getting their money. Yeah. I don't know how we're going to change this, but I think that we cannot be silent with this. But listen, again, we could be here all evening talking about this. I want to just kind of get to the rest of the panel. Of course, we had a panel member come in at the back end. Everborn, welcome to the show there, dude. How you feeling?
I'm all right. What's happening there? Hey, Slow-Mo, I think this is my first time on with you. Long time fan. So
what's up, man? What's going on, man? Yeah, I see you a lot on Twitter, man. Appreciate you, yo.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm good. And I just want to say, can we just I remember this is the first console launch that I was not waiting outside overnight in the rain with the shank on me just in case. You know what I'm saying? Things went down. I miss those days, man. Yeah, this is like this whole ordering it online thing. I've been vehemently against this since the days of PlayStation 2. I was always one of those guys that's like, nah.
You want the console in hand. That's
but I've never pre-ordered before this generation. I would always be like, okay, I'm getting it. It was a fun thing. Right? Like you meet people when you wait online. I remember the PS2 launch where it was like this mad dash all around the city to get one. I don't know if anybody's from New York. Like that was it was a crazy thing to do. And I wish we could get back to that. But now this whole like online scalper thing. Look, if people get them, you know, and they, you know, people make a business out of these things. I mean, you know, whatever, right? I know King made a couple of dollars off his 4 PS5s that he got, but you know, I still think there has to be some medium between if somebody wants to buy an extra 1 or 2 versus somebody who's buying like a warehouse full, like 30, right? It's not, there's a difference between I went out to 4 different stores personally to go secure them and I wrote a script that is going to spam all of these websites. And I really feel like they should have left a little more for day one inventory for the lines. And I feel like Apple has figured this out, right? Yep. Like nobody has trouble getting an iPhone, you know, on day one, at least not anymore. And even in the days where people would wait online for them, like outside, everybody would get one. You just have to get there. I think there's a lot of blame to go around. It's not just retailers. I think we have to blame Microsoft and Sony as well, because it could have been handled better. And it seems like they don't have any control over these retailers the way it seems like Apple does over the phone retailer. So I don't know what's going on. But I secured mine, so I guess there's that.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you know, again, I don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully, we're not going to have another console launch for years. I don't want to have to deal with this again. We could potentially hear about Nintendo's rumored, almost guaranteed Switch Pro that has been in development for quite some time. That may be making an appearance in March, right alongside Breath of the Wild 2, which makes sense. But we'll see. I'm like I said, if you didn't get one, I'm very sorry to hear it. I hope that you know, someone in the community can help you out, because that's one thing I talked about yesterday about how many in the community stepped up in a big way, and we're just asking for the what the console costs with tax and just the shipping. And I think that's awesome. I think that we're seeing more and more stories of that, and that's fantastic. Real quick, before we continue with the introductions, the first super chat of the day comes to us from a very generous friend of the show. James 176 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, the 2-step approach was how I got my PS5 digital from Best Buy. That's good. That's certainly good to know. But let's continue with the introductions. We're going to go to Joe, Mr. Bad Bit. Welcome to the program. How the heck are you feeling? I know you were doing some PC surgery.
Yeah.
Did it make it?
It made it. It made it. The surgery was a success. Yeah, man, I'm happy to be here. I'm kind of cranky bit today, and I have no idea why. I woke up just on the wrong side of bed, and I'm just a cranky boy today. I don't know why. It's just
well, we're going to talk about what you're thankful for in momentarily, and I think that there is something you have a lot to get into. There's a lot to get a lot to be thankful for outside of, you know, again, being alive, because COVID is a real thing. But we're going to get into why we're thankful. BitCloud Gaming, welcome to the program, dude. How many platinums have you gotten so far on your new PS5?
So we have 127 as we just platinum Spider-Man Remastered. So.
Oh, good for you, man. You really
Now,
ran
did
through
you
that.
put in the save and get that platinum?
Maybe.
Same here, man. Same here.
Listen, platinums are platinums are platinums. And
Yep.
guess what your boy is going to do when he downloads Spider-Man 2018 Remaster? Platinum.
The
Yep.
funny thing is, though, even when I did it, I still played it. I was like, you know what, damn, this looks
You have to
incredible.
play it. You have to
was-
see
it was
what this thing
incredible.
looks like running on the new hardware. It'd almost be a crime against humanity. Now, again, listen. Again, we're going to get into what we're thankful for, and I know that you have a lot that you want to get into specifically about your PlayStation 5 and what you've experienced. But, dude, thanks so much for being here. And we also have a very good friend of the show who woke up a little bit late today. Not late to this show. He was here early. In fact, the first one of the day. You know him as the subtle voice of Breaking Bread with Dread. Dreadpool, welcome to the program, my friend.
Good morning, Boom. How are you doing today? Welcome, chat. Welcome to the show. Welcome, panel. No, so I'm doing great, actually. I did wake up late. I made pancakes
Nice.
for like a brunchish thing, you know?
Yeah.
So, had to do that. Family's all happy. They're fed. They're out of the site now. So, we can move on to cleaning after the show. But yeah, for now, we're here. We're going to talk about some games and a few things. So, yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
By the way,
yes.
I was going to say, by the way, Joe, I forgot to send you your Snickers. I'm sorry.
Oh, dude. You know how crappy I get without it.
Real quick, I want to just shout out our very good friend, the protector of the borders, known as Breakfast with Boom, and every show that I do each and every week, the Sheriff, walking silently, carrying a very big stick. Lethal Papa in the chat, as always, making sure that these streets are safe and protected. I also want to shout out Dinero Panero, someone that I think that if you're looking for incredible artwork, incredible opening cutscenes for your potentially new YouTube channel, and you want to rebrand kind of like something, I don't know, that Mr. Badbit did earlier this year, that's the guy you want to hit up, and his artwork is astoundingly good, as you can see on the new episodes of the Xbox Factor podcast. We have the new opening, which is dope, got a lot of great comments about it. And obviously, I'm going to have him be doing Breakfast with Boom as well as Primetime Gaming in the new year. So, Dinero, once again, welcome to the program there, dude. And obviously, a very good friend of the show. You know him as he's a developer and very outspoken. Kirby Louise, or Kirby Zero Louise, welcome to the program, dude. But listen, folks, we're 18 minutes in and people are like, well, when the hell are we going to talk about video games? Well, we're going to talk about games right now. Listen, with the world currently in flux, with C19 making an unbelievable comeback, and we all kind of saw this happening, there are a lot of things to be thankful for. And of course, for me personally, and I believe everybody on this panel, and potentially everybody in the chat, health is the top of the list. Not only health for yourself, health for your loved ones, whether it be your significant other, your children, your grandma, your grandpa, your mom, your dad, whoever, your best friend. We want to remain safe and healthy. And of course, that is really what Thanksgiving is all about, is being thankful for the things that we have in our lives. And for me, it's paramount that it's my family, it's my friends. It's certainly can be material things, like I'm very happy to have a PS5. I'm very thankful to have an Xbox Series X and S for that matter. But because this is a video game talk show, we are going to kind of move it towards the hashtag fun aspect of being thankful about whatever in gaming you are currently enjoying. And of course, I want to involve the chat in this, and I want you to give us what you're thankful for. But we want to go to our panel. And you know what? Being I am the host, I'm going to go first. And this one is a little bit offshoot. What I'm thankful for is Capcom of Japan. I say that because I'm an old school cat, and I have been very, very fortunate to be a part of Capcom's history, going back, dating all the way back to the NES with games like Ghosts and Goblins, when it was it was hardly pixels at that point, and we have seen them go from the top of the food chain in 2016, almost literally being no longer a thing. And I talk about that all the time, about how close to bankruptcy they were. And to see them come back in 2017 with Resident Evil, my favorite franchise of all time, what I'm extremely thankful for is the fact that in the last 2 years, we have been privy to not only remakes of classic Resident Evil series, remakes that were done with class and precision in Resident Evil 2 and 3. And I've beaten both of those games, between both of them, almost 14 times. That's how much I love these games. That's how much I appreciate what they have done. So that is really what I am thankful for. I mean, the easy answer could have been, yeah, your new consoles and your new games, whatever. But I am thankful for Capcom that they are still grinding away, putting out incredible games. And this year, we're getting Resident Evil 8 or The Village. And I know that my very good friend BitCloud Gaming is super stoked about that. And speaking of BitCloud, for you personally, what in gaming are you thankful for?
So, of course, obviously, Capcom is definitely up there. I'm happy that we now have consoles that are giving us the options of different performance modes.
There you go.
Thank God. And honestly, you know, even though we're about to head into a new year, I'm just I'm grateful that I was able to inspire more to get out here and become content creators. So
nice.
I'm happy.
Well, I mean, that's a very, very strong point. So I hear an echo. I'm not sure if someone's got something going on in the background. Let me try and fix that. But there is
me. Remember that open heart surgery. Let's or open computer surgery. Let's see if it's me. Who knows?
Well, hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's not. I definitely don't hear it anymore, Joe. I don't know if that's if it was you, but hopefully your computer does make it. But anything else you'd like to add? I mean, like, I know that you've been really grinding away at Spider-Man, both Miles Morales and what in PlayStation for you as someone that relatively covers the PlayStation console and its ups and downs. Where there are you thankful for?
So I'm thankful that we have more games coming for one, right? But in terms of the overall lineup that we have, I'm just thankful again that they're continuing to raise the bar, even with games that are not relatively insanely long, right? Miles is not insanely long, but it does so much in that small time frame. You know, you get that same insane blockbuster type of approach, and it just feels like on another level. And what they've done with their console and how they're continuing to do this with their games, you just see it in the end result, and it really does show. So I'm happy.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a great point. I'm really in the belief that people need to honestly stop measuring a game based on an A next to it or the length of a game. I think that Miles Morales is a perfect example. And again, folks, I only have an hour in. I'm trying to. That's something I want to savor. It's something I'm probably going to pick up after I platinum Astrobot, which I'm playing right now, which is just astoundingly incredible.
Incredible that gaming has got to this point, right?
It is just madness. It's madness for a couple of reasons. One, the adaptive triggers didn't mean anything to me until I started playing that game. See, because I didn't get the sensation I'm getting in Miles with it.
In the remaster of the PS4 version, like, you know, like the little Octavius little mini game with like the circuits.
Yes.
The controllers triggers lock into place.
Oh, okay. See, that's interesting. That's interesting.
It had me thinking my controller was broke for a second because they were literally locking into place and like giving the resistance against the actual switches that you turn around and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I listen. Like I said, I'm after this week, we're going back to 3 shows a week. Monday nights, Thursday afternoons, Friday mornings. I kind of burnt myself out a little bit. I think I'm podcasting overload
every day. It feels so.
Yes. So I'm gonna.
Can't take it.
Yeah, I'm actually going to scale back again. It shows that your regular weekly shows are not changing. It's just that the extra show on Tuesday has been great to do, and if breaking news happens, I will of course cover it, and I will do. It being retired, I can do that. I can jump into a show right away. It's just that the extra show week has really. I mean, I've been doing it for months now, and it's just I kind of want to get back to actually enjoying gaming, and that's one of the things I'm going to get back to doing after this particular week. But let's go to Slow-Mo now. Slow-Mo, for you, it's easy to suggest that you got a PlayStation 5 from Cole, so that's what you're most thankful for. But I think there's a lot more. When you look at your channel, when you look at the ground that you have gained this year, and of course the show that you're doing with our very good brother, Gaming Forte, I think that show is phenomenal. I think you guys have a chemistry unlike anything I've ever seen, and it's something that people should tune into weekly. What else are you personally thankful for in gaming?
Well, outside of those things, and yeah, absolutely, DPS podcast is a joy to do every single week, and it's really not even difficult. It's just me and Forte doing what we do all the time, which is bicker and argue with one another and talking about the games we love. So it's always fun to do that and be able to do that in a way where other people are, getting a kick out of it and enjoying it. Yeah, definitely thankful for getting that PlayStation 5. But I think overall, something that I'm really, really thankful for is just competition in gaming. I think it's kind of a little bit of underrated that it seems as if this generation is going to be a lot more competitive than last generation was. And regardless of any fanboy wars or anything like that, gamers benefit from that more than anyone else, because when one side isn't dominating completely and isn't just getting everything that they want, then they make sure that you as a gamer and the things that you want are highlighted, are at the forefront of their mind, to try to keep you in their ecosystem, to keep you spending money with their platform. And so in order to do that, they got to be on their P's and Q's. They can't be complacent. And so I'm thankful for that, because I know that Nintendo's going to come with something, to keep them competitive, at least a little bit on the hardware side, so that all those Nintendo fans who are kind of looking at their Switch like, man, you can't even do 1080p. Soon they're going to have something where they're going to say, all right, visually they're keeping up with things, and maybe these third-party developers will still continue to keep, eventually putting their games on our platform too. It's seeing Microsoft acquiring all of these studios and continue to acquire more. It shows you what can be possible 2-3 years from now in the future, in regards to Game Pass, in regards to just having consistent first-party games available on your platform. Everything PlayStation is doing, first-party games are always top-notch. Insomniac, I have continued to keep saying, like, they are underrated, and I think, in my personal opinion, the best developer that Sony has, strictly off of their ability to make quality games and consistently drop multiple quality games before some of their other first parties can do one. And
a variety of those games too. If you look at the difference between Spider-Man and
Ratchet and Clank, and the rumored, and I know that this is going to make BitCloud smile, the rumored, and my God, I hope it's real, Resistance remake.
Oh, dude, you know how they went kind of dark, right?
They went dark on that, bro.
As soon as the console dropped, they went dark. It's like, okay, I see what's going on here. And when you have Blue Point teasing Metal Gear and Demon's Souls,
yeah, well, we've heard the Metal Gear. I talked about the Metal Gear thing a year ago, and people listen. Some of the DMs that I got from people were pretty nasty, but
weird. That's just like, you don't know anything. I'm like, listen. Okay.
Listen. I had a good lead on that, and that one fell off the map, and I would not be surprised if Blue Point is doing Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear Solid 1 remake. Could you just imagine what the game would look like on a PS5? Stop it. Listen, we're getting off track here. I know what I'm thankful for, and it's called Blue Point.
Just give me Parker, give me the original narration from the first one, and just take those graphics, bring them up to date. That's all you got to do, and that will look fantastic.
Here's a funny story. We'll get back to the main crux of what we're talking about in a second. This is a funny story. Now, back in the days, my brother Neo Mental and I, we used to work for Funkoland. If anyone remembers what that was, and one of the rival places was a place, and it wasn't a chain. It was just a comic book store that they turned. Yeah, it's called Dragon's Den. It was in Yonkers, New York. It was run by this dude. This is a real sleazy dude named Gary. I don't even know if Gary's alive anymore, but he was a bit of a sleazeball. But he used to go to E3 every year. And what he used to do is he used to take the video camera and he used to record stuff and then sell the tapes. You know, the bootleg tapes, right? We all bought them. And my brother and I put our money together because we were teenagers. And we wind up buying a $30 E3 tape that was like 3 hours long. But on that 3 hours was the first introduction to Metal Gear Solid, where Snake and the chick had their backs together and they were firing and the bullets were hitting the floor. We watched the tapes. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. We watched it so much that we wind up wearing it out. I mean, obviously back then there was no real internet. You know what I'm saying? We weren't we're spoiled as hell now. You know, trailer drops and we immediately go to YouTube and we could watch it in 4K on your 65-inch TV. And we're like, yeah, we're used to that now. But back in those days, you know, you had to wait on the magazines and people like Gary to bring those $30 tapes. Again, this is a little different than normal, less structured than what we're normally used to on my shows. But we're here to have fun. But I want to go to a bit. Let me go to Dreadpool. Dreadpool, if you listen, you've done a lot on your channel. Obviously, you've made some major headway with Breaking Bread with Dread, and it's great to see you expand. As a gamer, for you, what are you most thankful for? Whether that be a company, whether that be a release, whether that be a particular title, what are your thoughts on that?
You know, I said it on New's show last night, and I'm going to reiterate it again. And I know it's not really gaming per se, like an actual game, but it's gaming with the community. You know what I mean? Everybody that I've met here on the community has welcomed me in. Everybody's been, so great. So, just they're like family. You know what I mean? So gaming with my friends has slowed down because we've all, everybody, as we all go in age, we drift apart a little bit. We're still friends, but we just don't have the time to game as much as we used to. And everybody here in the community, in the chat, and everything, like I said, you guys are all like my family. So it's like I've expanded my gaming circle, basically. So anytime there's somebody on, hey, let's play this game, or if I'm looking for something, I can play with somebody. You know what I mean? So it's great because now we are interacting with more people. So that to me is like the best part of it. And then after, right along with it is also being able to share this with my daughter, so the next generation of gamers are coming along. So that's what I'm thankful for, because we're changing the toxicity from it. So that way she's welcomed in and she doesn't feel those stigmas that we had when we were kids. We were nerds because we played. So you can imagine how women felt, or girls at our age at that time felt, because we were nerds. What were they? You know what I mean? And they're still dealing with it now, but we're changing the world as it is, and the best part is we have these new consoles that are doing more stuff for us with the backwards compatibility. We're able to get those older games that we used to love to be able to play. And then yet again, the next generation to experience and grow from that. So it's just the fact that we all have hearts and our hearts are expanding. And collectively, the knowledge and the love for each other is growing.
Yeah, and dude, that's a fantastic point, dude. Jesus, I don't think I could have given a better point. And I think that in the world We have to look at the way the world is currently. We certainly could use more friendship. We can certainly use more love and understanding, and realizing that the world is a lot smaller than people make it out to be. And like I said, yeah, that is a great way. Let's get to the Everborn. And then we'll bring Joe back in. Thankfully, Joe was able to get here. Everborn, listen, you got a lot going on. Obviously, you launched your Kickstarter. I'm jumping up. I'm going to be one of the first people to join that because I want to support you in a big way. You're obviously making headway in the community. It's great that you were able to come on to the show. And again, my show is tiny. I don't know if I helped you get exposure, but hopefully I have done so. It's one of the things that I strive for as a content creator is to raise up others. One of the things I'm thankful for is having an audience that respects my opinion and trusts the people I bring on. And you happen to be one of the good guys for sure. What are you thankful for in gaming?
Firstly, I want to say just like thank you for having me on, and thank you for reaching out the hand. I reached out to you, and this is actually with all the world going crazy this year. If all things considered, I think I'm thankful that it has been a very good year for me in terms of goals and progress. So that's that. But as it relates to gaming, I'd say the number one thing I'm thankful for is the block button on Twitter. But
That's a good one.
But also, I'm thankful for the 3 years that I took off of gaming. Right, like I haven't really, I didn't, other than the occasional Nintendo Switch game, especially that Link's Awakening remake, which I probably put 100 hours into that. I really haven't gamed at all since 2017-ish. And so with these new consoles, I was lucky enough to get both, and I'm playing all of these games for the first time. I'm playing Spider-Man 2018 for the first time right now on the PS5 in performance mode at 60 frames a second, right? I'm playing Gears 5 for the first time. I'm playing Avengers. I mean, I don't know why everybody got so upset about that game. I'm really loving it so far. I'm playing Fallen Order for the first time. So I'm getting a chance to be reintroduced to gaming with these new set of consoles. And it's really making me, I'm sort of re-engaging with my inner childhood and gamer through these new consoles. I don't get why everyone fights so much online about these things. Both of these consoles are fantastic. Yeah. And I'm just happy I have a chance and the time and the ability to be able to experience all of these things for the first time. And one other thing that I think is super important is the emphasis on especially I guess on the Microsoft side, but it still goes for Sony as well. This idea of moving past how we define a generation, because I really view, I say this every show, but I just want to drive it home. I want everybody to repeat after me. Games are art, and yes, they are not disposable commodities. They should last. They should come with you. And again, no one says, Lord of the Rings or Scarface is an old movie, so why would I watch that again? We should look at games, give games that same respect if we really care about this medium the way I know that we all do. And one other thing that you had said, Slow-Mo, about competition, I'm really thankful that things seem to like they will be a little more even, because I think we've gotten the best from Sony and Microsoft after they got their teeth kicked in.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And I actually have a rebuttal to that. I have something important. Yeah.
I love Sony. Well, I love PlayStation and the games they make, but I am kind of rooting for them to get the foot in the kick in the teeth, not because I want them to fail, because I want them to come back like how they came with the PS4 after they had that stiff competition with the 360. So if you see me like super excited about Xbox, it's really because I want to see that competition, and I want to see Jim Ryan sweat the same way Microsoft had to sweat with the Xbox for them to say, oh crap, we need to buy more studios, we need to create services, we need to engage with the community more. Because I feel like Sony, they kind of have this motto right now is, we got the games, you want the games, fuck you, right? And I want to see Sony engage with the community the way Xbox does. And they don't have to, but I just think it's such a cool thing that they do. And I want to see that competition where both companies just have to one up each other in terms of customer service and value that they provide to the gamers. So that's, you know,
I mean,
we're excited for that.
And that's a great point. And Joe, I'm going to come to you in a second, but I want to just add to that, because listen, whether you dislike a particular company because you dislike them, everyone's entitled to their opinion. That's great. But for me, like I said, I enjoy gaming on everything. And I'm fortunate, folks, to be able to do so. Not everyone is able to do that. So I don't take that lightly at all. Though I have to say that because of the tenacity that was the PlayStation 4 and their first party games this past generation, it is the reason why Microsoft has 23 game studios, potentially adding 7 more before the end of 2021 is what we're hearing. 30 in 2021, and I think that's where they're going to stop. Now, what 30 of those are going to be, I honestly don't know. We can have a whole 2-hour show on what we think they're going to do, but I have heard that they are looking to have that many, and we'll see. But
boom. Likewise, Microsoft services, Xbox services like Game Pass is also the reason why we have on PlayStation 5 the PlayStation Collection. Just straight up, like,
no doubt about it. Listen,
it has been. And then they're also going to say they're going to do things to improve PS Now, which probably won't be day and date. First party.
I have a few. I know what they're going to do, bro. They're from what I heard, and I got this from good authority, good, strong authority, that they are adding PS Now to the regular PlayStation Plus yearly membership. So if you
just get it automatically if you have PlayStation Plus.
Either that or they're doing like an ultimate type of deal, maybe.
Bingo, that's what it is. Yeah,
it's ultimate deal, another option.
That would be pretty nice.
Yeah. Charge whatever you want to charge, and that's fine as long as it's not $100 for both, because then I'm not going to do it. But if it's reasonable, then but
like $100, you get both yearly subscriptions, and then probably that's what
that's what Black Friday is for, and that's why I buy my cards.
That's right. That's right. That's what you got to do. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's $60 a year." I'm like, I'm like, dude, you just wait. Wait till Black Friday, and then bam, it gets you everything for $30.
Absolutely. But
what's that other spot, Slow-mo? Was it CD Keys?
Yes, CD Keys is the place that I go, and they're trustworthy as H.
They're CD Keys.
Yeah, but getting back to the to what Everborn was saying, it is each of these companies that we know and love are trying to one up the next, and while they're doing it, here's a perfect example of what I want. Like, look, the reason why the DualSense is as amazing as it is because the Xbox One controller is fantastic. Right now, granted, it didn't do as many changes, drastic changes as the DualSense, because Sony needed to do better. The DualShock 4 sucked. I'm sorry, I hated it.
Sick. It was decent.
Sorry. It was better than the 3, but it just
anything's better than that. Boo that controller. Boo.
But if you look out, 3 had the worst triggers in gaming history.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But if you look at the DualSense, it is very much an Xbox One controller, or at least an elite controller. That's how it feels in my hand. And I'll say this, having played Astrobot, the adaptive triggers, that is real tech, folks. That is the real deal. I'm hoping that Jason Ronald, who follows me, by the way, doesn't follow you, Mr.
That's the real deal there, Boom.
There you go. And listen, I hope that they somehow work adaptive like triggers into the next iteration or the next elite controller for Xbox. And this is why we win. Like everyone was saying, we win. But Joe, again, we know that you personally, as someone that really cares about Miles Morales, but Spider-Man, from a personal and very, very special point of view, what else are you personally thankful for in gaming?
Man, I was looking back because my brother actually 3D printed the Miles Spider-Man symbol for me. It's pretty dope. I'm thankful for a lot of things. I think the first thing that, and here's where I get a little selfish, is the community that I'm trying to cultivate in the best way possible. You know, we see a lot, and we get shout outs a lot on this, I think in the past few days as well, of like, there's a lot of clout chasers, right?
Yes.
And there's a lot of people that really are chasing the click. And that is just such a tiring act.
It is.
Like, and it's such a toxic one as well when we're fighting that toxicity. So, you know, over the past 2 years with the trophy room is, you know, trying to make a community that is understanding of one another, that is very centrist of one another. We can all come together. We can all game together. You know, a place that is a safe space for, you know, I'm really happy to see that we have like LGBTQ plus members. We have people of color here. Like, you know, we're a diverse group that respects one another, even, you know, ideology or politically. We're all here because we really love PlayStation, and we're not here to shit on Xbox or to shit on, you know, people that have a different opinion than us, because that's not what gaming is about. And I think what we're seeing right now is the fight for the soul of gaming to match the face of gaming. You know,
I agree with Phil, what he said, the tribalism. It definitely needs to
tribalism has to stop.
We are going to get into that. We're going to get into what Phil had to say. Yeah, in fact, the second half of the show, folks, is going to be this monster interview with Phil Spencer. And it literally is so big that I had to split it into two different topics. But we're going to get to that. That's the first one we're going to be getting, Big Cloud, because what he said is super important, and people should listen.
And it really does come from, like, look, as much as I like Phil, I think he's a good dude, right? As much as I like Shuhei Yoshida, you know, these people, we often want them people to prove themselves that they're gamers to us. It's a very weird thing, but we have to also stop worshiping them. We have to stop worshiping these symbols, like they're religious symbols, right? So, like, seeing people in my DMs, I literally got two this morning that made me a little less grumpy bit, which is just like, hey man, I love your content. You know, you got me through X, Y, and Z, and like people wanting to be part of the Discord, because I often try to hide it as much as I can. You know, that's the thing that always shocks me, is when I hear someone go, you know, you got me through this, you got me through that. I'm lucky enough to have a member, Todd Burwitz, who, if I'm not mistaken, has a brain tumor or cancer, and you know, he's just like, your show is what pushes me. Is what keeps me going.
I love hearing stuff like that. That brings the heartstrings for sure. Yeah,
exactly. And that's that. You never think that you're ever going to get that message. And I never know how to react when I get that message. I'm getting emotional thinking about it, because, like, fuck, that's terminal cancer, and I'm getting you through it. Like, I just wanted to make a podcast talk about PlayStation, and that is always hits me, knowing that we have a responsibility to ourselves and to the audience to make sure that we are making something that not we're just proud of, but that people can call home.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thankful for. We're building something special, man, and I'm glad of it. Proud.
And you know what? Right there, what you said is the most important aspect. For me personally, coming from a career where I spent most of my career as a New York City police officer in not only public service, obviously that's easy. You know, you put on the uniform every day, you're serving the public. But I worked directly with youth groups. I was a youth officer first. I worked in community affairs. I worked in crime prevention. But working with the community in CPOP, which what it was back in the days, was the greatest thing, because I used to be able to walk down the block and know, the people. And obviously I've talked about this before. They used to call me officer friendly because I had a hello and goodbye for everyone. How I am right now and on social media on this show is how I was in uniform. It never changed. That's how I've always been. And I am extremely thankful for this community because I built this particular show and all of the content I produce with this community in mind, being at the forefront of everything that I do. But yeah, this is, again, certainly maybe not a lot of podcasts are going to cover this, but I thought it would be kind of fun. But I do want to catch up on some of the
So did the echo die on my end, by the way?
Did. Yeah, you're good. You're absolutely good.
Okay. Because I think the audio was bleeding from my computer it was weird. I think I had the audio plugged into the wrong jack.
Well, listen, you're certainly good now. But I do want to bring up this monster Verge interview with Phil Spencer. And like I said earlier, it's so big that we had to break it down to two topics. It's what he said in the first half that should explain to anyone that either doubts him or understands the leader he is. And it's the back half where he talks about the Xbox community. And if you had doubt that he cares for us, this should really be the exclamation point of getting rid of that doubt. But first of all, Robert Jones, a very generous friend of the show. Robert, thank you once again for the outstanding $15 super chat. And he says this: have a great show and glad Phil Spencer is fighting against the idea that Xbox fan base are second-class citizens. Yeah, we're going to get into that for sure. And our very good brother, you know him as Enrique from the Basement Radio Arcade podcast. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and does what he always does. Happy Thanksgiving, Boom. PC Master Race will be serving up the best bird. Woo! Thank you so much for that, dude. We also have another one that came in from Enrique. He drops an additional $2 super chat in the Slow-Mo Fears Gaming Forte and Souls games.
Let me just say, the only thing about Forte I fear is his singing. It's abysmal. I never ever want to hear that.
Heard him sing yet?
You don't want to. I mean, it's you. If you want loss of hearing in your left ear, then sure, go right on the head. But I would recommend against it.
Okay, well, we'll make sure that when he sings, we'll mute him for sure. Kirby Zero Louise drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, FYI, Boom, Microsoft had a patent on adaptive triggers since 2018. They likely haven't gone forward with it due to its reliability/durability concerns. Okay, dude, that's awesome. I did not even know that that was a thing. But again, I don't know what Sony is doing. Again, when I experienced it, the first thing that came to mind for me was Horizon, the Forbidden West, on how Aloy is going to handle that bow. And hopefully they take full advantage of those adaptive triggers the way they did in Astrobot, which is dope. And I'm going to be good. Easy Money 4K drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, thankful for great gaming memories with friends and family who are no longer here. Oh my goodness, dude, that's a great point. Happy holidays, everyone, and happy holidays to you, my brother. Michelle Alexandria drops a very generous $3 super sticker. Thank you for your generosity, Michelle, and thank you for being here. But listen, being a great leader comes with huge amounts of criticism, and Phil Spencer is unfortunately no stranger to these talking points. It's mostly on how nice of a person he is, and I find it truly disgusting personally that Phil's good guy demeanor somehow detracts from him being a good businessman. It's baseless and, quite frankly, plain stupid, in my opinion. Now, in an interview that broke yesterday, it is clear as glass that he is the right leader for Xbox and is always thinking about the Xbox fans. And here is just one of the talking points from the interview that should give anyone who has doubt absolute confidence in the future of the Xbox platform. And this is what he had to say. In the console space, there's a core of the core that I have, and he pauses, I think, taken it to a destructive level. And I really want that to fail. And this is what he's saying about the destructive level. I really want that to fail so the thing I bought succeeds. I'm saying this on both sides. I'm not saying that it's all people crushing Xboxes and everyone loves Xbox is always completely inviting to all PlayStation stuff. I've said it before that I find it distasteful. Maybe, and he pauses, that's too light. I just really despise it. I do not, that's not some kind of kumbaya thing. It's actually real. We're in the entertainment business. The biggest competitor we have is apathy over the products and services and games that we build. Now, again, this is a powerful statement from the head of Xbox, where he puts on blast how disgusting the toxicity on all sides is. Not just PlayStation, not just Xbox, and certainly not just Nintendo. It comes from a very small, insignificant subset of the community. And the reason why they're discussed so much is because they're small people, but they have the biggest voices. And what we have to do as a community that loves one another, or is supposed to care for one another, regardless of what console you like best, we need to turn these people on mute. Do what Wilmy Hood does, good friend of my show, personal extended family member of mine, is block the F out of everyone who's a D-bag. That's what I've been doing in my timeline, is fantastic. But I want to go to slow-mo first on this. Now, you've talked about Phil. I think everyone has talked about Phil one time or another, and in a positive way, because Phil is a great, great leader. He is great for this industry, and at his core, he is a gamer. For you, hearing him use the words kumbaya tells me that he has heard people compare him to this on these podcasts and do it in a way that is derogatory. And it obviously bothers him. Otherwise, he would not have used that phrase. What are your thoughts on this first topic of Phil Spencer?
I do believe that he's heard the commentary on him. I believe they listen to, and not just, well, I don't know if Sony does, but I do believe that the Xbox division does pay attention to what the hardcore fan base says. It pays attention to what the people in this community say about their performance with things. We see it with what Phil's comments about kumbaya, because there are people who've said that they think he's too nice. We've seen it with some of them addressing some things that we've had taken issue with. And I do believe when it comes to, say, Halo Infinite, the outrage or the issues that we had with the way that game looked went a long way towards them giving it a second glance and said, you know what, let's just go ahead and delay this. So I think it has its them paying attention to the hardcore community has had its benefits, but then has also had its drawbacks. And I agree with Phil when he talks about stuff like, because if you read the interview, the question he was responding to was in regards to the interviewer asking him, how do you feel when you see that, you put all this time into creating a console and then people spend $500 to hit it with a hammer or run over it with a truck? and in his response, Phil did acknowledge that it's not just like one side. Like there are Xbox gamers that do that as well. And we've seen, I'm pretty sure everyone has seen videos of like
it's ridiculous.
The weirdos
waste $500.
right. So weirdos running over PlayStation 4s with cars. And it's just like, what are you doing? And it always irks me to see things like that because it kind of perpetuates the stereotype about gamers, period.
Mm-hmm.
Because whenever I talk to my friends that I know personally in my personal life that aren't gamers, and they're like, "Oh, you do podcasts? What do you podcast about?" I do podcasts about video games, and it's that look like, what's wrong with you? Like, wait, what are you doing? And then it's you really play games like that? I'm like, yeah, I do. And they have this perception of gamers that is that weirdo that does the as Phil's called it the what was his exact quote? I think he said like the hardcore or something like that. But it is those guys that are the reason why people look at gamers and with a broad brush. And it's not. It's unfortunate, but it is the way it is. And I think when it comes to I appreciate Phil speaking out on it. Although, and I said this on DPS last night, I feel it's almost like Phil standing on the beach trying to hold back a tsunami.
Yeah.
Because it's just like he can say it till he's blue in the face. But there's just, I think it's not symbolic of just this community, because we see it in any other realm or community or industry where there are like warring brands. You see it with Apple versus Android. You see it with Nvidia versus AMD. You see it in literally every single industry where there are two different companies that are competing with one another. If one person prefers one, there are some weirdos that just have to go too far about the other one. Look, you could not like the other one. That's fine. You don't have to buy it. But the way people go sometimes on it is just like you need therapy. Like, I don't know what's wrong with you. You need some help. You need a hug or something. Your mama should have held you as a child. I don't know. Like, but whatever your issues are, like, you should take them off of social media. But unfortunately, they don't. And so, although I and this has always been Phil's thing, because if you remember at GDC like 2 years ago, he did a very long speech about many of these same things, and people commended him for saying it. But it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything ultimately in the end. So, I agree with him, but it's almost like maybe I'm jaded, but I just kind of like, it's not going to change anything. These people you got to block, ignore, move on.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I think you shouldn't even engage. That's my thing. Don't even engage in the conversation. If you see someone that wants, because you'll see it. They just want to keep fighting. Just block them. Don't even mute them. Just block them. That's what I say. Let's get our other guest in here. Everyone, you have been extremely outspoken personally, specifically about some of the things that Phil Spencer said for this particular topic. What are your thoughts that he actually not only name drops Kumbaya, which we've heard many people say? I'm certainly not one of them, because I really appreciate Phil Spencer's quote unquote good guy mantra, because that is how I am. I'm, of course, I don't have 6 zeros in my check, and I also don't have the power to make big decisions at Microsoft, but I carry myself as being the good guy because that is who I am. And that is one of the reasons why I gravitate towards him as a leader of Xbox. And I appreciate his personal take on this. What are your thoughts, man?
I mean, part of it is I kind of don't get, like, why, if you are comfortable with whatever ecosystem you've chosen, why do you feel the need to get on any sort of soapbox? By soapbox, I mean like whatever your social media platform is of choice, and then fight, right? If you truly love Xbox or you love PlayStation, why don't you just talk about what you like about it, as opposed to trying to convince someone that, you know, they're a horrible person because they don't like a thing that you like? And again, you see this over and over again with politics. You see it over and over again with religion, and it just shows, I think, as human beings, we are, you know, we need to feel like we belong to a group, and these things have been so ingrained into us. But the thing is, unless you work for one of these companies, right? And unless, I don't, maybe some of these people own stock in Sony or Microsoft, why would you want to go? If I say, hey, you know, I'm excited about the next gen launch of the Xbox, and then you feel the need to jump onto my post and says, why? Xbox got no games, right? Like, what are you getting out of that, right? And I think that what it ultimately comes back to is, sure, we happen to be talking about gaming, but it wouldn't matter. I think a lot of these people are angry about their everyday life situation.
Maybe. Yeah.
And this gives them an outlet. So we could have been talking about Android versus iPhone, or Mac versus PC, or I don't know, like BMW versus Mercedes. It wouldn't matter. People just need to feel like, hey, I'm a part of this group, and this is where I can take. I think a lot of these people, they're probably mad at their boss or their wife or husbands, and they can't yell at them, so they just come and yell at you for whatever it is you like.
It's an issue with society.
Yeah.
It's just, that's why you see it permeate in literally every other avenue of entertainment that people enjoy. It's weird.
And
My bad, go ahead.
Yeah, no. You're absolutely right. And I just think, and I say this all the time, light a candle instead of cursing the darkness. Like, if you, I wonder this, like, are these just people who maybe they couldn't afford to get both consoles, so they have to talk themselves into like that what they chose is the greatest one, right? Like, are these companies acknowledging you? Are you getting a check for doing this? Why?
You know what it is, man? If you don't mind me butting in here, I think it's a mixture of things. I think people want to belong to something, and they want to belong. Yeah, they want to belong to something. They want to feel like they're making an impact, that they have a community. And when consoles are a thing, and we see it in tech, right? Like, we see it with Apple and Android, but you don't see the ferocity in that, because you get a different experience out of your phones, where this piece of plastic that you're playing on is taking you on emotional journeys. So you have that component, into it. So you have that set of, this box is giving me so many great experiences. I don't even know how you can enjoy that other box. It is that sense of community and purpose that these people have misplaced. Like, I don't want to get too in the weeds, but like, I have a creator friend. She got an Xbox, and it was awesome because she's a person of color. You don't really get to see that. How many white dudes do we get to see unbox an Xbox early? And so she was one of them, and people were upset at her because a black woman got an Xbox and they didn't. And so it's kind of this thing of, I belong to this, and I'm the number one fan of this. Ergo, you have to prove to me that you belong here, because you deserve my validation. I don't deserve yours, or I don't need yours. So that's really the danger here. So like, when we see, like, people make these clickbaity thumbnails, most of these people absolutely know what they're doing, right? A lot of people are sheeple. They have this community think. They're not thinking for themselves. Some people want to be told. They want a strong man to lead them. So like when you see a person like Crap Gamer make a really bad video and really just cringy and awful and just spiteful, people cling to that, good, bad, or ugly. That person's doing it because at the end of the day, they're getting a check out of it because they know that clickbait is going to sell, because that emotion is going to grip people. That's why a lot of these content creators do what they do. They see the clicks, they see the watch time, they see the money, and that's why they keep doing it.
But
even if it's on social media, even if these people are shadow banned by the industry themselves, it doesn't matter. But they're also, like, when we get to the foot soldiers, mostly miserable fucking people.
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
Need to belong here. That you need to prove yourselves to them because they never prove themselves to literally society.
But here's the thing. Just to add on to what you're saying, though, those people that I do agree with you, especially the content creators, they do know what they're doing. But if you notice, they never grow past a certain point.
Yes.
Right. And I think if in the long run, the people who end up growing to astronomical heights, those are the ones that grow into being more magnanimous. Those are the ones that sort of understand it's not really about the raids clicks. That's like fast money that you can get, but you're not. It's not going to sustain you in the long run. And I just don't think it will pay off.
And that's a true disconnect, Everborn, is like this. Yeah, like you see, if you're working with a niche, you see a lot of like channels, like they work with a niche, they get to a certain size, they branch out, they see what clicks, and then they keep on branching out until they're kind of, like magnanimous with everything. And that's what good content creators do. And then they find out that they have this audience, they could weed out, the wheat from the chaff, and that they could still make a living off this and have a community that's sustainable. And it's a multi-layered thing, but like that is the issue here is these content creators that can't get past that magical 50 number. They're not understanding that their whole the whole cog in their machine is built on the clicks. Again, it's not a sustainable lifestyle, but also when it comes to these other sad fucks that I'm sorry, I'm cursing so much. I just get very passionate.
That's all right.
It angers me.
This is an emotional topic, and you know something. Listen, we're all adults here. I think people in the chat, the 300 people here, are going to appreciate the true banter.
Yeah. What Phil Spencer is saying is 110% right. We need the first thing that I loved out of Phil Spencer was when Xbox was down and out. He was in an interview. I forget like the verbatim thing. He's like, yeah, and I'm playing like Second Son on my PlayStation. And they're like, whoa, you have a PlayStation? He's like, yeah. Right? Like that is like, of course I do type of response. That's kind of what we need more on. And Everborn, I think you're totally right as well. I think you said this, where it's PlayStation also needs a Jim Ryan to kind of say the same thing, or at least a Shuhei, but they also need to be more vocal with their audience going, gang, this is not how we act. This is not how people should react.
Yeah.
There needs to be more pushback on those types of creators, and it also means that PR needs to even play a bigger part, where they're looking at the numbers that these content creators are doing and literally just shadow banning them. Even looking at their numbers, going, no, but I see your audience, and that's not what we want to represent here at company A, B, and C. That's what needs to happen in order for those things to change. And YouTube needs to crack down on these toxic folks. Yep. That's the only way that this is going to actually work. I'm sorry, I'm so passionate.
I get it. I have a different view about the crackdowns and the shadow bans, because I think that in a way, like sunlight is the best disinfectant, and I think as a community we have to reward and not reward bad behavior as opposed to leaving it up to those companies. But that said, I think the ways to do that are for the Sonys and the Microsofts to do what they do. They will come to the shows of the people who are spreading positivity as opposed to the people that are, sort of angry all the time. And again, those if you cultivate an audience of angry people, they will turn on you in a minute the moment you are not on code,
brand.
right?
Yeah.
And again, I see this because I come from a movie podcasting background. That's what I was doing before I was joining you fine folks. And you saw it. There were certain content creators that would sort of rile up their audience when Brie Larson was Captain Marvel, and then when they made a race change for a certain character, and this is virtue signaling and all of that, and that's all their audience was. And then they got surprised when they turned out they had an audience full of racists. But if you turn around and you bring that negative energy, it's not sustainable, and we need to get away from that. And one more thing I want to say, back to Slow-Mo's point, which is, as a community, I think that we a lot of the times are still behaving like we're children, and we're all 30 and 40-year-old people here. Some of us are in our 20s, but when you're out here, and you get up and you fight all day about these things, instead of saying, hey, this is what I'm playing, this is what I enjoy, I'm excited about this and that, and then somebody comes and looks at you, it's like, oh, well, of course, go drink some Mountain Dew, right? Because you're a fucking child. And I really wish that we could just get away from that. And again, fun is fun. Sometimes when you make a meme or you make a joke, those things can be hilarious. And I don't want to say we have to be all put on a suit and tie just to enjoy this stuff. But I think people are bringing too much negativity into this conversation where it should be fun, and we should be talking more about the real intricacies of this hobby and the industry and the art that people put into these things, as opposed to, I have more teraflops than you, or you have no games.
It's funny you said that. The moment you're real positive and you just start talking about what you love, whether it be which platform, that guy's a shill.
That
guy.
Just because I'm not as angry as you doesn't mean I'm damage controlling, right?
Maybe he's enjoying the hobby. Did it ever occur to you that he just doesn't give a damn about what's going on in your little bubble? He actually cares about the box. Did that ever occur to you?
It's called being a gamer.
Exactly.
Let's bring Big Cloud into the conversation. Big Cloud, now again, this for topic number one. You heard what Phil had to say. Obviously, he distests how the toxic community gets involved, and it bothers him. More specifically, the word to me was a trigger word, the kumbaya word, and that's something I have heard on numerous podcasts. I've heard that on the level that we're on, but I've also heard that specific term in the gaming media. I'm not calling anybody else. It's not my job to do that. Phil knows who it is. He doesn't need Boom to tell him who it is, right? But for him to specifically say that is crazy, that he has heard that. And I'm sure people didn't run to Phil, but hey, Phil, they could have said you're kumbaya. I'm sure he heard it, and that's why he mentioned it. Well, what are your thoughts on the first Phil Spencer topic?
Yeah, I agree with what he said. Tribalism definitely needs to stop on all sides. The thing is, though, it doesn't matter what it is. Dudes argue about everything. It could be a console, it could be a controller, it can be a game being delayed, it can just be anything. Like one game getting delayed from one of these companies can turn into a damn 2-month discussion and go into ridiculous theories left and right. It can definitely turn into that stuff. And I do agree that, this community, it has its moments, right? It has those moments where it's like, damn, maybe there's hope for it. Like, I remember when DRM was a big deal at the start of last gen. Everybody came together and change happened. But the thing is, nobody really gets together like that anymore and really fights for stuff.
Yeah.
That's really the issue. Now, for me personally, again, I ain't no saint. I'm going to keep it a buck. You already know. I ain't no saint. I've been riding the professional for years before I decided to rebrand and do things the proper way. I lost a lot of support along the way, but at the same time, I gained a lot of loyal support in the long run, true supporters. And that's the type of stuff a lot of people don't understand. Yeah, you can chase clout. I can have like 1,000 viewers if I was just being a toxic dude saying Xbox sucks every single day. I can legit turn my logo into me beating up a controller or something. I don't know. weird something. But the thing is, that's not really what it's about. And I learned this the hard way when I had an interview. You guys remember? I know Boom remembers this because he was like blown away when I pulled this interview. But you remember that interview with Gio Corsi?
I certainly do.
When I talked to Gio Corsi, and keep in mind, this is a former PlayStation head of Sony. I had a long conversation with him off air, and even he told me that the change in overall and how I went about stuff has opened doors. But even he told me, you don't really get anything out here just being negative. You really don't.
Yep.
Speaking your mind, sure, you can speak your mind. You can be open. You can say how you feel about a platform, sure. But does it have to be to a point where it literally is just like, oh, you wake up every day, oh, look, there's a negative clickbaity article out here. Let me go ahead and throw this out here and share this out here to these people, especially when you have an audience. And a lot of people don't understand when you have a huge audience or a huge following, regardless of it's Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube, you have a power in a sense. That is your power in a sense. You have an influence over those said people. Now, I'm not saying people who follow me are drones. I'm not saying people who follow Boomstick are drones. I'm just saying you have a reach of that proportion. And when you have a reach of that proportion and people see that who might be new and your message is negative, people look at that and go, well, damn, maybe this guy supports this side as opposed to being that.
I think you hit a really great point. No one actually realizes how small this industry actually is.
Yes, great point, Joe.
Like Boom, you say like people from Xbox watch your show. Absolutely. I remember I did a show way back when, and I didn't know said person, the host was a toxic person. I literally got reached out by some PR folks going, "Hey Joe, notice you were on here. And just wanted to let you know that person's been blacklisted for X, Y, and Z. We're reaching out because we know you're not like that, ? And I'm like, thank you for letting me know. Unaware of that, not going to do that again. And so like that is something that a lot of people don't realize. It's like, you can be critical of PlayStation, of Xbox, you can have a critical critique on said thing, but if you're just like PlayStation shit, Xbox shit, Phil Spencer sucks, show you can eat a shoe, that isn't gonna get you anywhere. Those people will look at it and they will block you. And whatever your thing is, I love what you said, BitCloud. Like I'm an SEO guy. That's my whole thing. Right. I know what video could get X amount of hits if I word it a certain way or a certain way. I don't do that. I am very comfortable if 0 people watch a video because I know at the end of the day, it's about integrity and it's about the people that do follow me and the community that I'm building that matters to me. It's not about, coming in and going, I want all the fans. It's like, no, I don't. I want to sift through it. You
notice this too, clout chasing type of channels, like heavily. When the clout runs out, what do they try to do? Guys, what do they try to do? Boom, what do they try to do?
They'll try to rebrand.
They'll hit you. They'll hit your DMs. They'll try to do all this. Like, hey, you want to collab? Hey, you want to talk? These type of channels never have longevity. It shows
it's like a shooting star. It's very, very bright, and then eventually it just fades off into nothingness.
You'll have that one video or two that might get some crazy, traction, and then it slowly dies down to nothing. And it's not about the views at the end of the day. I'm not trying to say it's about views. Neither is Joe. We're not trying to say it's about, this views. No. It's just the presentation, how you go about your message. I even said this to somebody who's super toxic. I don't know if you guys heard of him, but his name is Damian Prosolendis. Damian Prosolendis is a self-made millionaire. I've had him on my channel. And this dude has a YouTube channel where he called video games for losers. He said video games are for losers, and you're a loser if you like anime. You know what I did? I had him on here for an interview. I talked to him one-on-one. And even I said the same thing to him. I'm like, my dude, you're a real charismatic individual, but there's a way to get your message out there where you don't have to slander or do anything. You can get your message out in a way where people, instead of hating you, they can actually look up to you. And as an example of being better. And I do that all the time. So,
Yeah.
I mean, listen. Again, this is a little unusual for we're usually talking about games, right? But I think that this was a great way to roll into the holiday with some reality. Again, gaming is supposed to be fun, but you know something. Sometimes we got to put on the big boing pants and talk about topics that most other shows aren't talking about, and that's what I love about this channel. Is that yes, you're gonna get gaming talk, you're gonna get excited, fun talk. But at the same time, you're going to get some adult talk.
To give you guys a picture, right, of the circle, because Boom will tell you his circle is not big.
No,
he doesn't have a big circle. Neither does Bad Bit, neither does Dreadpool, neither does Slow Mo, and even Everborn. The gaming community is so ridiculous that my circle over the years, and going about 3 years being a content creator, my circle went from being a massive pool to about the size of an ant. I only talk to X, Y, Z. I don't go around anymore. Why? Because you see so much every single time. You see the constant stuff that just never stops. So it's like, is what it is.
I wanted to say something real quick, and I may end up regretting saying this, but I'm gonna say it anyway because it's just who I am. I speak my mind. I was told, like, my channel I'm under 1,000 subs. It's growing, but it's not where, of course I would want to have it to be a bigger channel, but I'm fine. Say what?
I said you'll get there, just grind.
Yeah, look, man, I am fine where I am, and I realize why I'm definitely fine where I am, because I've built it to be what I want it to be, and not it's true to me, and it's not basically me going after a particular platform, me shilling to a particular kind of audience or a particular corporation. I don't do any of that stuff. But my channel's about games, just games. And we could talk about those topics, but I'm gonna just give my honest opinion, and it's not based on anything or any kind of personal feeling or fanboyism for any kind of other stuff. And I was told by someone, I'm not gonna name who it was, but I was told if I really wanted to grow, I needed to be more I can't remember the word I was told, but I needed to go out there and hobnob with certain people, try to get on their shows,
ridiculous,
try to like befriend people who I know probably don't care for me because I don't fight for a particular flag, and I'm just like, nah, I'm not doing that. Like I literally can't fathom myself pretending to be cool with someone in order to get influence or to get a certain direction or to be able to get on their big show or whatever. No, screw that. No.
Yeah, that's the point.
Hey, slow mo. Tell the truth. You don't want to get to 1,000 because that would mean you have to play Bug Snacks.
Yeah.
I will get to 1,000 and I will play Bug Snacks. That's not the problem. What I don't want is I don't want to build a platform. And I know you was joking, but I'm just saying I don't want to build a platform that I'm not proud of. I don't want to build a platform where I'm looking at everything and the people in my chats and in my comment section are saying things that I don't personally agree with. And then eventually when you want to make a change, they all turn on you.
Yeah. And that's at the end of the day, you have to be proud of what you're doing.
They call me Slow-Mo, undercover Xbox.
Yeah, people
it's ridiculous.
Even though listen, I have more platinums than virtually half these dudes who run their mouths.
Yes,
I play more games on PlayStation than more.
Remember, if people hide their achievements and their trophies, there's a reason. There's a reason.
It's just a question: is it possible for you to love PlayStation or for me to love Xbox without hating another company that I don't own? I mean, I have stock in both of them, but I'm not I'm not because I prefer Xbox. I have no ill will against PlayStation. I love that PlayStation provides movie level experiences, and I love that Nintendo connects me to my inner child with their focus on nostalgia and reinventing Mario and Zelda. I will always buy a Nintendo console as long as they keep making Mario and Zeldas, and I will always buy PlayStations as long as they keep making movie quality stuff. That doesn't mean, that I dislike Xbox. Like even with everything that everybody said about the PlayStation controller, the Xbox controller is still more comfortable to me. It feels in my hand just because I'm used to it. But I don't have to go and say, I don't have to badmouth PlayStation or Nintendo for that.
What's
and I don't get
what
that.
you just said? That's your opinion, right? You said the controller feels more comfortable. People are making narratives saying that your opinion is wrong.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
Which is the dumbest thing. I never thought that was the thing. I never thought my opinion, which is subjective, is wrong.
Yeah. Well, listen, let's before we move on to the next topic and I catch up on the super chats, I want to bring Dreadpool into the conversation, because Dreadpool, you've seen both sides of the coin. You've seen the great aspect of the community, which is what we all strive to be a part of, and you've seen the real nasty fucks that we want to kind of just put into a barrel and kick off the side of the cliff. Well, what are your thoughts on Phil Spencer specifically calling out the toxic fan base?
Well, first of all, we are just by nature tribal, right? I mean, back when we were picking up rocks and throwing them at each other, we'd band together, and all of a sudden there was a group of people that we didn't like. So it's just by nature how we are, and the thing is, we've grown exponentially, right? We should be able to think about what we're saying. You know what I mean? Just because you can, it doesn't mean you should, right?
Yep. Great point.
So with all that said, we need to get rid of all this stuff. You have an opinion, just like you guys said a little bit ago, your opinion is wrong. Well, no, it's an opinion. It's based on my feelings, my thoughts. Okay. Now, if I said, oh, what you said hurt me, and it really, really hurt my heart and it broke it. That's pushing it too far. Yet again, the wrong way. It's like you said something, you don't agree with it. Okay. You know what? Now I know how you feel. I'll let you know how I feel. I didn't agree with it, but you move on. You don't sit there. Well, yeah, you know what? Back at you. You don't. It's just all it does is it compiles and shit rolls down faster and faster and picks up more and more as it goes. Yeah. And that's all we're doing is we're flinging all this stuff back and forth. Excuse me for saying that, but I figured it's after 12. We can probably say a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like you said, you've said it before with your father, it doesn't hurt to be nice to somebody, say something nice, when you walk by somebody, you say hello, what does that happen? Nothing. It doesn't do anything. Right. But it doesn't compress somebody else's bad day to be worse. I mean, it might actually help somebody that needed that hello, somebody holding a door open, stuff like that. Same thing here in gaming. My platform's built on just my show's about anything. I have nothing that I concentrate on, and Breaking Bread is the first thing that I've actually had a special direction. But at the same time, that show is about anything. You know what I'm saying? So I don't sway one way or the other. Do I have a preference? Yes, we all have preferences, but we should at the same time try to shut this stuff down. The tribalism is all it is breeding more and more negativity into what we do, into how we look. We've brought up the subject that we look like idiots. Well, no, we're not idiots. We're smart, educated people that have a hobby. Yeah. It's the few that are speaking up or showing up the rest. And that's how it is in all of life. And unfortunately, it is what it is. And all we can do is try to squash it. Let's, maybe not bring attention to it, but we also shouldn't be shutting them down and saying, you know what, I think what you said was wrong, so I'm going to cancel you. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's where we're at too. There's another tribalism of cancel culture, and that's also going on in this community. So there's many aspects of this tribalism that we're doing. And we need to set the example. We need to show, hey, you know what? Let the idiot say what he wants to say, but here's the truth. This is the facts that we have. Now here's my opinion, and you can agree to disagree with me. you know, and that's where we need to be at with this. And that's where I believe Phil is the same thing. Phil is a gamer, you know, of course he's got a PlayStation. Why not? He's a gamer, you know, and any true gamer would play wherever they can, right? We've said that before. You can play on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. Oh, wait, what's sitting right behind me? I got for my birthday, you know, just the other day. I got the flashback system here. What the heck's it called? Legends Flashback, right? 100 games. It's got Super Star Wars on there. It's got 1942, Dig Dug, Donald, the Mallard, the Maui Mallard. You know, I mean, all this stuff that was back in the Genesis and Nintendo days, right? We also have, wait, we got MAME games, right? We're bringing back arcade games onto our PCs. You know, so there's a lot of stuff. When you're a gamer, you're a gamer. You may have a preference, but you're still a gamer. You love and enjoy gaming. And this is where we should be. This is where we should promote other people and creators, you know. Hey, how's it going? What game did you play? Oh, really? That's not my feeling. You know, I'm not really a racer kind of guy, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. You know, hey, by the way, did you hear? Boom said he liked this racer game. It's not for me, but Slow-Mo, you know what? You might like it because I know you like racers too. Stuff like that. There should be more interaction in a positive way than, you know what, Boom, you're full of it because you don't know what you're talking about. Racers suck. Hey, Slow-Mo, did you know racers suck? You know what I mean? This is what they're doing. They're going out of the way. And it's you know, just to, because I didn't like what you said, I'm going to go to Slow-Mo now and say, hey, you know what? I don't like what he said, and it sucks too because I know you like these kind of games, and I think you suck too. No, this is the stupid mentality that we're just promoting more idiocracy across the board in gaming. Let's not validate those people. Let's validate the people that are actually bringing a point up, proving that, you know, there is critique in what they're saying. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't like this racer because the drift doesn't feel right. Like the car doesn't sit right. You know, this is the only reason why I don't like this racer, but it's an arcadey kind of racer. It's not simulation. I like simulation. You know, so you might actually like it. There's so many different avenues that we can go that a lot of people forget, and they just want to just banter the wrong way and just down everything. Why do we have to bring everything down? Let's bring everything
Hey, Dreadful. You know what you said that. You know what's interesting too? They claim they game, right? They'll claim they game more than you. They claim that they're so passionate about the box and whatnot. How many gaming streams have you seen from said channels?
Nothing. That's
Nothing.
Again. That's
you know what
again,
Big
that's the
Cloud's
point.
channel has been doing for the past couple of days? I've been streaming Demon Souls.
Yes,
on
you
the
have.
channel.
You know what's another thing though? Even if people like, because I don't want to say that, you know, people can't be like, you know, super fans, right? Like, you know, we see how when people are into sports, how they get and all of that. Like, you can be a zealot, but how about you focus that energy towards convincing people to like what you like instead of saying you should hate what you chose, right? If you believe in what you believe in, if you believe in your platform or your preference or whatever, how about showing people what's good about it as opposed to harping on whatever you think is a shortcoming of your perceived competition?
Right.
Yeah. Like,
include people into your hobby, include people into your favorite game. You know, so exactly.
Like this is why I think, you know, PlayStation is the best because of this, not because it is against Xbox.
Because Xbox got no games.
Exactly. Yeah. And I have another theory, right? Do you know that so far every video game movie that has ever been released has just been god awful? Could we all agree on that? I think that, and that used to be the case with comic book movies, but it happened because they didn't respect the comic book audience. And when they started taking the comic book audience seriously, we started seeing better, more high quality movies. Christopher Nolan came in and said, no, I'm going to treat my audience like adults. And I'm going to make, you know, Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, you know, and I think that, and I think that people look at the video game community and they look at us arguing all the time. And then they say, oh, no, they're just children. They just like explosions. We'll put that in the movie and we'll have this god awful Assassin's Creed movie because, hey,
Hey, my
they have
mother loved
swords.
that movie, sir.
Listen, what I want to do though, honestly, is I do want to get on to the second statement that that Phil Spencer said, and the reason why I want to get to that is because there are a tremendous amount of supposed professional, people in the gaming media aspect, as well as the again circles that we run in, to seem to believe that Phil Spencer does not have not only respect for his community in the Xbox community, but that he is willing to take the responsibility when they're wrong. And he openly admits something. I want to talk about that, but I do got to catch up on some of the super chats. First of all, the gamer by choice, want to welcome him to the show. He drops an outstanding $5 super chat, and he says this: tribalism is bordering occultism. Is real in society, and gaming is no different. I pray things get better. We are people at the end of the day. Great show. Well, thanks so much for that. And yes, you are absolutely correct. Kay Asante, a very good and generous friend of the show, he drops another $5 super chat and says, happy holidays, gents. I always love when Phil speaks to these issues. I wish Sony executives would do the same. A unified front would go a long way, in my opinion. Strong point there at Kay Asante. Philly Eagle, another generous friend of the show, he drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, it has nothing to do with finances. It's simply that some people are a-holes and some people have no idea how not to exhibit cult drone-like behavior. Strong point there, Philly. Joe Dunmore, another generous friend of the show, he drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, I have been gaming since 1978. So have I. And he says, not Atariing, Nintendoing, or PlayStation. Where there's games, I go. Yes, I mean that's I mean, because you are a diehard gamer there, Joe. And Bounty Boom completely blows my lid off by dropping an outstanding and extremely generous $50 super chat and says, wow. I wake up to a great show, and I have to say that I'm not a person that listens to these shows a lot, because I listen to Boom, that I subscribe to Dreadpool, Bad Bit, BitCloud, Slow Mo, and a lot more. I think I meant Evermore. Thank you so much, Boom and panel, for being you. Well, thank you for the generosity, brother. Super appreciate that. That is ultra generous, but also thank you for the compliment and the support of my panel. Again, getting back to Phil Spencer in this interview, we could have done an entire 4-hour show. It was a massive interview. I do have it linked in the show notes if you want to read it for yourself. I think that if you are interested to hear some more of the finer points of what Phil had to say about the launch and a few other interesting aspects, you should definitely click on it. But this particular next one...
Boom, sorry, yeah. 1 second. There's also an audio version in that link on the Verge.
Yes, there is.
You can, if you have a podcast app, you can search Verge Decoded or Decoder, whatever it's called, and you can hear the audio of the whole thing. So you don't just have to look at the snippets from the article. So it's about an hour and a half long. I listened to the whole thing yesterday. Amazing interview, and it wasn't just about this fanboy stuff. Lots of stuff. I recommend everybody listen to
topics. Yeah, great. Certainly, thank you for the information. Yeah, there is an audio version, and yes, if you don't want to read, some people just want to listen. You should definitely give it a listen. It is well worth your time. But one of the things that I appreciate about Phil Spencer is he understands the fan base a lot more than many people give him credit for. And there have been subsects of the community, both in the Xbox and, of course, the PlayStation and the gaming media, that seem to think that he does not have his fingers on the pulse of what Xbox gamers want. And I think I would be the first one to tell you that you are wrong suggesting that. And it's in this part of the interview that brings exactly what I'm talking about to light. And it puts it front and center. Not only did he take full responsibility for the Halo Infinite debacle, both in the reveal and the delay, he talks about the fans. And his quote is this: there's also a fan promise that I made. And that's not lost on me, that people want to see new, great games to play on their new platform that they purchased. That's a commitment that we believe in. We have made huge investments in our first party games, in growing the amount of games that we can build that can be special on Xbox, that can be there for our Xbox fans, so they feel like they made the right purchase. Halo was a miss on our part. I wouldn't change the decision based on the right game, a healthy situation for the team, and how they're working. I absolutely have. It says absolutely. It's something that we had planned for. Bonnie Ross, who runs the studio, and I have to have and I to have Halo there. That was our plan. In the long run, I think what's going to happen is we're going to get a better Halo game at a good time when people can actually get the console. I feel good about that. I think the game will be better for the time that we're giving it. I'm incredibly excited about the lineup, not only from the Xbox Game Studios, but we've obviously also announced our intent to acquire ZeniMax and Starfield, and great games that Todd Howard and that team are making and working on that people are going to be able to play on their Xbox. I feel good. Really good. In fact, the best I've ever felt about our roadmap. But yeah, it would have been really great to have Halo at launch. Now, look, there are some key points here. Now, what I walked away personally from this is that he understands that as Xbox gamers, we want to be able to look at our platform and say we have as many meaningful AAA adult-themed, story-driven games as what Sony is delivering to their fans, and I think we're going to get it. But more so, and again, this, you guys take this topic and run crazy with it. There's no subset of what I want you to say. You say whatever you want. The other thing that I personally got from this, and I think that this was a subtle way of just getting the line drawn in the sand. When he talks more specifically about Starfield and the great games that Todd Howard is making, or the team over there is making, that people, and I quote, are going to play on their Xbox. What I walked away is that if you are a Sony fan, and that is the only console that you support, you don't support PC, but you support Sony. You have a PlayStation 4, you have a PlayStation 5. I'm giving you the heads up now. If you want to play Starfield, The Elder Scrolls, and whatever else is coming out in the next generation, you're not going to do it on your PlayStation 5. I'm going to draw the line in the sand myself. This is not a fanboy thing. This is a reality thing. It's why I own every console, because when one console has a game that I can't get on the other, I will politely pick up the controller on the other side of the living room and play said game because I'm a gamer. I'm giving you the heads up. That's what I walked away from it, besides his commitment to the people that support Xbox. It said to me that these games, this investment, and the future of what they're going to be building is going to be for the Xbox community. Now, that may piss people off, but I think that is the reality. I do want to go to Slow-Mo first on this. Slow-Mo, this is a strong statement. This is a statement that tells the fan base, at least in my opinion, that they understand we expect and demand great things from this platform that we support. I'd also walked away with it thinking that he's basically said, without saying, these games are going to be on Xbox and, of course, PC, and you will, with xCloud, be able to play this on numerous ways. What are your thoughts on what Phil had to say?
Well, I'm not quite okay. So it seems like every week there is a different notion or idea based off of something someone with Xbox said in regards to where those Bethesda games are going. Like last week, like some guy who was the CFO said,
that was Tim Stewart.
Yeah, it's just like, at this point, I'm just like, now I could look at his comment about that and say, all right, well, he did say Xbox and he didn't mention PlayStation, but then I can also look at like in the context of what he was saying. He was talking about his ecosystem. So then maybe that's why he didn't mention it going, it going to other games in regards to Starfield. I'm so like done with this until it is a completed deal. Because even like, what was it, 3 weeks ago, he said, I really can't definitively say that it's going to be exclusive to Xbox or not because we don't officially own them yet.
Yeah,
so we can't.
It would be illegal. Yeah,
it would be illegal. So at this point, I'm just like, I'm just tired. I am tired of already at this point of Bethesda and whether it's exclusive or not. And there's, and I get that, every time he does an interview, it gets asked, and of course we have to discuss it. But it's so difficult to be able to parse through the words of like, okay, so what does this mean or what does that mean? And then ultimately, if it's really true that they really haven't sat down with them, although I kind of like, I don't believe it legally. Like he can't say, yeah, I definitely talked with Todd Howard. This is definitely what we're going to do. Publicly, he can't say that, but privately, I kind of feel like they already have a plan.
Yeah, they have a plan. They
place.
just can't publicly say it.
Yeah, but it's just like at this point, I think we got no clue what they're going to do, and I think I would prefer for them, if I was them, if you have Game Pass as the root of your platform, Game Pass is what you're all about now. Every game, take Starfield or Elder Scrolls 6 or Fallout 5, every game that is Bethesda that's sold on PlayStation is one less person that is a Game Pass subscriber. That's the way I would look at it.
No, and that's a great point. Yeah.
So if I was them, I would make sure all that stuff stayed wherever Game Pass is. So if Game Pass is on PlayStation at that point, then go ahead.
Well, that's a difference. That's a horse of another color, though. Right. I don't know if Jim Ryan would ever.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen. But that's like the only
never
way.
Say never.
No, it's true. That's true.
Yeah,
stranger things have happened.
I just can't see Sony doing it. Man, if I'm wrong, I'll eat the biggest L possible. But it's just, like I just don't see Sony saying, sure, we'll put Game Pass because then there's, I don't know. But regardless, if that was me, that's what I would do. But then I can also see the other side where it's like, why pass up that money? Why pass up that 70% revenue of putting it on PlayStation? They're going to make money either way. So it just depends on how you want to make that money. And I just feel like
with his Doom, that's what it is.
It's just if you want to push Game Pass as far as possible, I think making sure that if wherever Game Pass is where those games are, and that's it, is the best way to go about it. But all that said, I think I like his comments. I'm just hoping that like the games when they come out hit at the quality or level that we anticipate from them.
Yeah,
and I think some games for certain, like I'm really high, even though we've seen next to nothing at all, but I'm really high on Avowed. I'm really high on Fable, based off of those studios and their pedigree and what they've done in the past. So, but I mean, we'll see.
Only time is gonna tell. Joe, let's get to you, Joe, because you look a little edgy in the chair there. I know you're looking like you got something to say. Real quick, Joe. Max Diesel drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Crap gamer." So we're going to you is a prime example of negativity in game, and he's done it on Xbox and both Sony's side. Yeah, well, that guy is just who he is. He is who he is. I just stay clear of him. That's all I can say.
Yes.
But Joe, look, Phil Spencer. It seems as if, at least in the last 12 months of the Xbox, where he's been doing interviews, he's been quite talkative. He always has to defend his commitment to the Xbox brand, more so it's gamers, and I think that he does it again here, front and center, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on his commentary?
Again, I think they have plans, right? I think when they sat them down, Bethesda, and they're just like, okay, here's our plan for you. It is really interesting that Bethesda's publishing arm, like, they talk about partnership rather than acquisition. That wording speaks volumes for what I think Microsoft's idea for Bethesda is, which is Bethesda is going to be Microsoft's third-party arm. If not, there is absolutely, at least from by the little knowledge that I have, there is almost no reason to keep Bethesda's publishing arm intact if that wasn't the case. So, taking a look at it and seeing what the CFO said, and then what Phil Spencer said. Phil Spencer's the face, so he has to be delicate and kind of, again, talk with precision, where a CFO is a suit and he's talking to other suits about suit things. So he's going to actually give you probably the truth. And it's usually not the shit you want to hear, right? So I've been saying this for a very long time. Xbox is about Game Pass. Their thing is selling you Game Pass. Mm-hmm. It is not so much about selling you that box as more as making sure you're part of the ecosystem. Xbox's journey is to put you in the center of that ecosystem, no matter where you're playing on. So, to say what they're doing definitively, I don't know. But Microsoft, I think if people want the exclusive games, right, like this is a thing you need, you're going to be disappointed, because I think Xbox is, or Microsoft rather, is about bringing this, look, this is a $7 billion deal. They want to get as much money out of it as humanly possible. And so whether PlayStation is still the market dominator in the console brand, yes, you're probably going to see mainline Bethesda games still on PlayStation, but the allure is going to be like what the guy Tim said, the CFO, is first, better Game Pass, right? I think something along those lines.
Is it first or best?
First or best.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what you're going to get. I think you're going to get, if you want the best experience and you want that Game Pass experience, where you're going to go to Microsoft. If you don't want that, there's other ecosystems. They're not throwing out Switch. They're not throwing out PlayStation, because those things sell units. They publish for them as well. So, no, I kind of do feel like what Microsoft is going to start alluring people to, when they were getting shit for, Microsoft just turned into a publisher. Yeah, they turned into a publisher. That's great. You want them to. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to bring those Bethesda titles over to PlayStation, but I think the allure is, again, Game Pass, because when we were bringing in the Game Pass gaming guys the other day, what did they say? I bought an Xbox over PlayStation. Why? Not because of power, because of Game Pass. Mm-hmm. And that's what the allure is. That is the exclusive. That is the killer app, right? For Xbox. It is Game Pass. That's all you need, because listen, whether Elder Scrolls is on Xbox or it's on PlayStation, guess what I have? I have Game Pass. So there is no reason for me to go out there and buy Elder Scrolls 6 on PlayStation, because I already have it on Game Pass.
But if that's the case, a lot of money there. Why put it on PlayStation? Right? Like if you're devaluing it on other consoles by saying on PC streaming, or if you have an Xbox, or whether it's the $500 box, the $300 box, or the $24 or $34 a month, what's even the purpose of putting it there? And I don't disagree with you, right? Only because we're looking at a different Microsoft now. There was a time where people thought it was a big deal that Microsoft offered Office on the iPad, right? They're like, hey, you have your Surface here. If people want to use your product, that's your killer app. Keep it on the Surface. You'll sell more Surfaces. But they weren't thinking like that. So I don't put it past them. But to some the points that were made earlier is, look, nothing that anyone says means anything until that deal is closed. Why? Because they go around saying, hey, guess what? We're going to fire half the employees here because we don't need the publishing arm. Before this thing goes through regulation and gets reviewed, I think that they're risking that deal doesn't come through. If they say, it's going to be all exclusive and we're trying to be a monopoly, guess what? The deal doesn't happen. They need to be sorry to use the word again, kumbaya, so that they don't look like the big bad $2 trillion company that they are, stomping around the industry and buying up studios. So I don't know that it will be exclusive, or it will definitely not be exclusive. I don't know that they need the money from Nintendo or Sony. And then the other part of it is, you know, if the idea is to grow your subscriber count, how about you use those games as leverage to get Game Pass on the PlayStation? You say, hey, Jim Ryan, hey, Mr. Dance Moves, I want to listen. I would like Elder Scrolls on your console as well. You just gonna have to put Game Pass there, right? And I do see that. And even in this same interview, Phil said within the next 12 months, we will see xCloud as an app on your TV.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're offering all these avenues for people to play. I think at least at the beginning, they're gonna try to make it exclusive, only because look, they don't want 15 million subscribers. They want 100 million, 150 million subscribers, and they need to do everything they can to drive that subscriber count. Forget about selling boxes, and forget about Microsoft doing this to give us as Xbox fans something to hold over the PlayStation guys that have been trolling us about no games. That's not what this is. This is not revenge. It's not show friend. It's show business, right?
Yeah, and I think what you hit something of like, why do they need to? And you mentioned Office on iPad being such a huge deal, and people going, oh God, like Microsoft, what are you doing putting your most popular app on your competition? And you saw it was a net benefit for them. And what Microsoft is, more than a tech company, more than an entertainment company with Xbox, they're a service company. They offer services to people. That's their bread and butter, whether it's OS, whether it's apps, whether it's Game Pass. They really want to make sure that every asset of their company can make that service money, right? So that's why I think Microsoft doesn't particularly care where their games go, because I kind of look at it in like the movie industry. When you take a look at, you know, Netflix is great and all, you could still buy your movies, right? Or you could still rent your movies. There's just different options for you. So when I'm thinking of Microsoft, and the reason why I think of this is not because I want it there, it's more that Microsoft has been preaching options, service. They want to give the consumer options. So that's why I'm thinking, yeah, like their brain is on who gives a shit about consoles. It's about getting this Game Pass on any box you can. And there will be a point where, yes, I definitely believe you will see a Game Pass app on a PlayStation, vice versa. It's going to get there. And I think really the true incentive is, at the end of the day, again, like, it's not desensitizing the ecosystem. It's more so really incentivizing people that are outside the ecosystem, because every PlayStation gamer, logical one, will go, yeah, like Game Pass is great. There's like no one's ever arguing that, except I've seen some people go like PS Now is better than Game Pass. You're high, but like nobody's going to argue that. And I think that's the biggest incentive, is like the killer app isn't having Elder Scrolls exclusive to Xbox. The killer app is having Elder Scrolls exclusive to Game Pass, or not exclusive, sorry, having Elder Scrolls on Game Pass, which is exclusive to Xbox. And that's what I think is going to sell the box. I think if you're Microsoft, you are thinking as a publisher, and you will go out there and allow like MDHR and folks to make the games they want and have these, you know, opportunities to put their games on other platforms. But they also have to be very diplomatic in how they do that as well. So that's why you see everybody treading so lightly. I still think they are still in the evaluating the asset phase of what games can stay there and what games could branch out.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, I mean,
sorry, Boom.
Mhm.
I sent a super chat in, I think, to yesterday's shows or the day before.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
I've always taken that idea of we are not going to pull content away, meaning we're not going to take anything out of the store that already
there
exists.
now. Yes.
When they
yes.
do Deathloop, they're not going to pull it out of the store
Right.
as soon as that's up. If it's there, it's there. I do think they are going to leverage new content to drive subscriptions. That's the key. Now, where you get that subscription is a whole other story. And even with my Office example, they didn't put Office on the iPad. It's not because Apple was the #1 selling thing. They put it on there when they worked out a deal for the subscription so that Apple wouldn't take 30%. A 30% cut of people signing up for Office. So I think they absolutely want people to play their games on PlayStation, but they want it through Game Pass, and that is what the company is going to push. And I don't know that selling a game direct in the PlayStation Store gets them to where they ultimately want to be, which is that 150 million subscriber mark. But I do think we'll see it on the PlayStation. It'll be through Game Pass, and they have to leverage that with exclusive content to Game Pass, not specifically Xbox. I don't think they care if you buy an Xbox. As a matter of fact, they're losing money if you buy an Xbox.
Yeah.
They want you in that subscription. So if you spent your money on a PlayStation, they didn't lose any money off that. They're just getting your $15 a month or whatever it is. But again, that's the way I read the situation.
And to that point, Everborn, you're absolutely right. Slow-mo, I want to get your opinion on this because Jim Ryan recently commented on it. He was asked directly whether or not that any of these Bethesda games would be on the PlayStation. He said it's a very good question that he is hoping to eventually find out the answer. He knows the answer. He's being full of it, but he was being the head of Sony. What is he going to say? Oh, he's going to throw a console war statement. Of course he's not. But Everborn's point is good. See, I think that Jim Ryan knows how these games are going to get on to his service. He's going to have to allow Game Pass. Do I think that's going to happen, at least in the next couple of years? I don't. I don't see that happening because Sony wants to do their own thing with their own brand, with their own games in PS Now. Now, are they going to be day-and-date games? No. I don't know if we're ever going to see that. That's what I want, but I don't think that's what Sony currently wants. What are your thoughts on Phil Spencer's pointing out that, yes, we understand that Xbox gamers want these things. We're going to deliver these things. But more importantly, what are your thoughts on what everyone has been saying about these games potentially not coming to Sony unless they're done in a way that Phil Spencer wants them to be on that platform? Maybe he stepped away. Maybe I think he stepped away for a minute. Okay, you know what? He did say he'd be right back. Big Cloud, why don't you take that question, brother? What are your thoughts on these games potentially coming only to PlayStation if there is Xbox Game Pass on PlayStation?
So it's funny, like I think Badbit just said it, right? He was like, dude saying PlayStation Now was better than Game Pass. It is funny to hear them all of a sudden say, "Oh, PlayStation needs the Game Pass." The very service that they've been sponsoring for the longest. It's very funny.
I would love it.
If Sony does do a Game Pass, which could be in the future, I know you want it, Boom. It could be in the future. I don't know how long though, because they already have everybody pretty much subjective now. They're actually buying the $70 games. I don't know if they'll do it just yet, but if they are going to do a Game Pass, hey, it is what it is. It's business. But the thing is, though, I could have sworn you said it and a few others on this very channel that eventually it was going to happen for PlayStation. Did you not?
Yes.
I think Dealer said it. RDX, shout out to RDX. But again, I've been on that show when he said that. That was the funny thing. But if they do have a Game Pass for PlayStation, me personally, hey, if it happens, it happens. But it is going to be interesting to see, once again, narratives change once again.
Yeah, well, I think people are going to fall in on themselves if that happens. Like if there's an announcement,
people say, "Oh, it's a great value." Oh, Game Pass, like PlayStation's a great value. Oh, it's got this, that, and the third. I saved this amount of money, boo. We're gonna have to do a talk.
We're definitely gonna have to come back around to this because again, we have to remember. I think that we don't see Xbox Game Pass at least in a couple of years because I think, in my opinion, Sony wants their own greatness pass, right? They want their own thing to subscribe in, and Jim Ryan, he made mention of it. Now he said something similar. Like I said, my belief is that the PS Now is merging into PS Plus, and I think that's a good thing.
xCloud can do.
Yes, that's a great point. So I don't know if that's what we're going to get. He did say we're going to hear an announcement. I don't know if we're going to hear it at the remainder of the year because we're running into the holidays, and I think maybe we get something dropped at the Game Awards. That's possible.
Yeah, maybe because at this rate, you're seeing a lot of picky gamers. Remember I said that, Boom? You're going to see a lot of picky gamers if games are $70. A lot of people are going to be looking at these games with a magnifying glass at this point. Like, yo,
it hurts, man. When I went and got the 3 games I got for the launch of the PlayStation 5, it went from $180 to like 200 and almost $240.
You can get yourself a beast headset.
It's a big difference. That extra $10, which is actually $12.50 if you count tax. So exactly. I mean, you're talking almost $40 additional. I said this before, and I'll die on this hill. I want everyone to have a pass. I want Nintendo to have a pass, so I don't have to buy their games.
Nintendo is just
you know what though? I really do think it's a matter of time, and I think this is. I mean, Microsoft has been doing this since they entered, console gaming, right? Like they pushed forward just with the Xbox Live service, and then you saw PlayStation Plus. They've pushed these services, and they've sort of changed these conversations. And again, when Jim Ryan is in the boardroom at Sony talking to those shareholders, and they're looking at Microsoft talking about 50 million subscribers, whenever we get there, they're going to be like, "What are you doing, Jim?"
Yeah.
Right? Why don't we have an answer to this? And honestly, I really think it's just a matter of they need Microsoft to take this risk because they can afford to take this risk money-wise, right? Because Microsoft is a company that can make a bet on something that may not have a ROI for like 10 years, right? Because they can afford that. But once this whole market is decided, like even if you listen to that interview, Phil said they're still working out the business model. Some people want a payment up front. Some people, they pay for the development of the game, so it's their day and date.
They want to take people loans on the system, basically.
Right. So all those things are getting figured out now. And I think once that gets ironed out, I think that's when Sony comes in. Because let's be honest, if Sony said today that all of their first party games going forward would be in some kind of service day and date, that means whenever the next Last of Us or God of War or Horizon or everything else that they do, Days Gone, you name it, is all in one service, everybody's going to get that. And they might even trump Xbox numbers, right? So they could do it.
And their portfolio then has to change. That's the other thing people don't realize.
Because notice the PS Plus subscription. Notice they just added. Remember, we were praising this. I know Boom remembers this. We were.
I was. That's for sure.
You remember the collection, the PlayStation collection that they're adding to this. Why all of a sudden did they just decide to add a PlayStation collection for PS Plus?
Which is dope, by the way. No one ever talks about that. That PlayStation Plus collection is incredible.
Exactly. So even if you didn't have $200 up front to pay for the PS5 games that you wanted, at that time, right at the launch, you still walked away with like 20 games.
Yeah, at least
because they gave you PS Plus.
Here's the thing that's interesting about that. To your point, there are a lot of people that waited. Did not invest in PlayStation 4 to get a PlayStation 5 and missed out on all of these games. And guess what they're getting with their PlayStation 5 and their PlayStation Plus subscription?
What am I getting?
20 of the biggest freaking games.
I'm one of those guys.
Yep. There you go.
Sony's not dumb. They see the market. I can already see these report rumors actually come into fruition. I can see a PlayStation Plus PS Now merging type of thing going on. I mean, they already changed PS Plus. They're already adding value to it. What makes you think they won't have a second tier to this? It's one thing about business is to upgrade. Well, you know what I'm saying? When you improve, they've already improved their network because PS5 is, you can tell by the download speeds on the new PSN. They've improved a lot. So I can see them doing this.
Yeah,
sure.
Me too. You know what? Let's get Dreadpool's final opinion because Slow-Mo had to step away for work, so he won't be back. We'll give him an outro. Well, maybe he'll be back for that. But Dreadpool, you've heard everyone's opinion on this. You know, obviously Phil has proven, at least in my personal opinion, that he does have the Xbox gaming community in mind, that he does want great games, but he also is a businessman and he wants to make the most money. Well, what are your thoughts about how everyone has positioned themselves?
Well, first of all, Phil is taking the blame for Halo, right? You know, so you got to remember, a leader takes the blame for all the faults of his subordinates. Okay, he also doesn't take the accomplishments of his subordinates. You know what I mean? So for Phil to do that, it takes a man to sit there and say, you know what, I screwed up, even though somebody else screwed up that was underneath him. I screwed up. I take the blame for that. You know what I mean? And you don't see that with the other side. You know, we don't know what's going on because we keep on getting misinformation. And then it's like, oh, yeah, by the way, this. All right. So and I'd like to see them be a little bit more honest, a little bit more straightforward.
Transparent. Yeah.
Something, you know, let's take the tapping, you know, the tap dancing shoes off, maybe get some crystal shoes on there. Yeah. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just, it's nice to see that, you know, and everybody's criticizing him for this, but this is where the market's going. You know, the market's going into these directions where
I want everyone to have a pass because I'll subscribe to them all.
Right. Oh, actually, what I would like, ideally, right, in the utopian society here, ideally, I would like to have one pass for every console, PC, whatever.
I don't know if whatever it is, happen, right? But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Wouldn't that be awesome, right? And then here's the other beauty of it, right? And this was kind of like the 3DO mantra, I guess you would say, with Panasonic and the other companies that were making it, where it didn't matter which box you bought, you can play those games on that box. You know what I mean? So wouldn't it be cool? Yeah, you know what? I like the PlayStation controllers better because it fits better in my hand. It's got this, but I can play Mario, or I can, you know, I can be on Xbox and I can be playing God of War, or I can be on the Nintendo Switch because I just don't like, let's say, the way xCloud feels to me. So I like having that portability on the Nintendo, and I'm playing Killer Instinct. You know what I mean? It'd be cool to have that. Are we going to ever have that? No, we already know that that's never going to happen. But that would be the ideal situation because then we can all just be gamers. You know, but yet again, we'll figure out a way to separate ourselves.
Yeah, well, again, it's like right now, like I have at least half a dozen subscription services from Disney Plus to Hulu to Shudder to Netflix. Listen, that's what the streaming wars are just beginning, and whoever has the top line content is going to have people subscribing. And there's going to be different tiers, there's going to be different forms. I'll say this, folks. This has been an incredible 2 hours and 15 minutes. A conversation that generally does not get spoken upon during podcasts because I know we want to be gamers. We want to talk about games, but I think that we really covered a lot of important topics. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, everyone enjoyed it. I know I certainly did. I know the panel did because there were some really, really dynamite points brought up from everyone. And I think that every now and again, it's nice to kind of just step back and talk about the adult stuff. And then we'll come back next week and it'll be all fun and games. But I think that we really, really did some really good work here today. Great way to kick off the holiday season, which is going to be starting literally within the next couple of hours because Thanksgiving is next week, at least here in the States, next week, tomorrow. And hopefully you enjoyed yourself. And if you did, hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down button, and that's fine too. So, watch is a watch, even if you get negative stuff for it. But listen, let's get to the outros, and we'll start with one of our guests. I don't think Slow-Mo is back, but Everborn, do me a favor, brother. Tell everyone about where they could reach out to you, potentially strike up a conversation, and more importantly, maybe, just maybe, invest into the Everborn saga.
Okay. Yes. So I've been trying to get all my social media handles and things in line. So I've recently updated my PlayStation and Xbox username, so you can find me there at Everborn Saga. You can check out everbornsaga.com. If you want to talk to me on Twitter, it's Steve AM, like the morning time, Johnson. And on Instagram, it's the Everborn. I'm working all these things out, but please check us out. And everbornsaga.com, you can check out our comics. We have a video game coming. We are basically, if you mixed Game of Thrones with My Hero Academia, that's the best way I can describe what we're doing over here in Everborn land. It is a bunch of different comic series along with the comics and novels and a bunch of cool artwork. So please check us out. And the Kickstarter is coming soon. I will post it in the chat. And again, I just want to say thank you to all the people that are listening right now. Please do a thumbs up so we can raise us in the ranks here. And I want to thank everybody on this panel and this whole gaming community that got me back into gaming. Thank you, Boom, for inviting me here. Thank you, Slow Mo. Thank you, Bad Bit, BitCloud, Dreadpool, everybody, the RDX guys, everybody, Brap, everybody. Everybody's been so inviting, and this is what I like to see in gaming, aside from all of the nonsense. And everybody, games are art, and light a candle instead of cursing the darkness. That is all I have. Yes. Thank you, everybody.
Well, thanks, dude. Super appreciate that. Real quick, before we get to the rest of the outros, Reggie Mobile 9 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, if Game Pass had 50 million subscribers, that would make $750 million per month. That's $9 billion a year. That's where they are headed. PlayStation not needed. They're halfway there. Right? Indeed, that's a very interesting point. Bounty Boom, who dropped a Game Pass code in the chat a little while ago, drops an additional $5 super chat and says, any given Wednesday, any given time, any given show, let the race begins announce the Boom. That is what we got to do. Well, thank you so much, dude, always. And the last one comes in from a very good friend of the show, Pong Soul, drops a $5 super chat and says, Boom, thankful for you. Well, thanks, dude. That is really kind of you to say. The panel and this entire community, a special shout out to Bounty Boom for the Game Pass code he threw out in the chat. Well, thank you, of course, for the very nice compliment, but also for being a part of the show. Joe, let's get you out of here. Yesterday, I had to give you an outro because yesterday your computer basically dropped dead on the scene. And I talked about you and your very good friend about how people need to subscribe to the Trophy Room and why you and Kyle do an amazing job each and every week. Tell people about that.
Well, you know what? I would usually pimp out the Trophy Room, right? You can find that on podcast services, yada, yada, yada. Instead, Boom, if you don't mind, I would like to drop a link in the chat.
Go right ahead.
Near and dear to me. So this month, this Friday, usually Black Friday. Instead, since we're all indoors, there is no excuse not to. I will be doing an extra live stream on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Nice. Extra Life, of course, they help kids in need in hospitals, and this year more than any, kids need your help. Yes. I've heard it from so many people this year, especially because everybody's struggling. Charities are struggling even more. So if you could go over to that link, copy paste it, whether it's $1, $5, whatever it is, it goes straight to the Children's Miracle Network that helps kids in need. When we hit $500, there will be a Hot Ones inspired Trophy Room episode where every topic, I eat a hotter wing, Kyle gets a little more wasted. It's going to be a weird show, but it's for the kids.
It's for the kids. Please. I'll be stopping by there to drop some money into that pot, dude. Listen, thanks so much for sharing that. So super appreciate that. Hopefully people come out to support that. Dreadpool, want to get you out of here also. Obviously, everyone's getting ready to start the holiday. For you, brother, where could people reach out to you? Strike up a conversation and check out Breaking Bread with Dread.
Yes, Breaking Bread with Dread is on anchor.fm. I just dropped it on the in the chat there. It's not a link, but it just copy and paste it, and there you go. And it's about, you know, me sitting down with another personality, eating food and live recording. You never know what you're going to hear. You might hear some water dropping, some kids screaming, somebody losing a cell phone. You can find me on Twitter at Dreadpool. The O's are actually zeros. My YouTube, my gamer tag, and Stadia, Dreadpool, all letters, all caps. And then every week you can find me on Gaming Beyond the Box Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. Breakfast with Boom Friday mornings at 10 a.m. except for this one because we're here now. Right. And then I'm also a panel member on Four Guys with Quarters for the interviews, and every so often I'll pop in during the show if I'm awake. So my DMs are always open, and especially at this time of the year, I want to make sure I express it. Everybody and anybody, my DMs are open. If you want to talk, I can listen. I may not have anything to respond with because I don't know how to respond to some things, but you know what? At least you have an ear. So if you need a vent, whatever, my DMs are open. You know, and this is one of those hard time of years. This is one of the worst years I have a hard time in, and especially with the holiday seasons. So yes, my DMs are always open for you guys, and I gotta appreciate everybody in the chat for showing up. Thank you guys. Thank you all here that showed up. Everborn, it was great meeting you. Always great to have Slow-Mo on anytime. And then obviously my other brothers between Boom, Mattbit, and BitCloud. You guys, yet again, loving everything.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for being here, brother. Super appreciate it.
Man.
Anytime. One last thing. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving and happy gaming.
Yes. Well, thank you for that. Super appreciate your commentary. Also, appreciate that you are part of this panel. BitCloud, let's get you on out of here, brother. I don't know if your Friday show is going to go on as planned due to the holiday. Why don't you tell everyone about where they can reach out to you and help you cross the 10K mark on your YouTube channel?
Well, first of all, happy Thanksgiving to everybody in the chat. You guys on the panel. Very grateful to have met so many cool people in this short time span. So awesome. Congrats again, Boom, for all the milestones. You already know I'm proud of you. I'm happy.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
I'm happy, man. And you guys find me at BitCloud Gaming on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. And we're not doing no show on Friday at all. But I want everybody to have, everybody be safe out here for one.
Yes.
Enjoy the holiday. Be grateful for the time you have with the ones that matter most, and cherish every moment that is out there. And I want to give a big shout out to Diego. He was in the chat earlier.
Yes, he was.
He is going to be, let's just say he's going to be blessing the channel with some new light as the intro. And also the one and only graphic guide is also going to be lending us his expertise. So I can't wait to see what he has to look forward to. But going forward, obviously, you already know, I can't wait for the future for one. But one thing is for certain, things definitely got to change. And since a lot of people are just either afraid to show that change, I'll be that obstacle. That'll be the first one. So let's already know this.
Well, I mean, that's a great point. Obviously, change is coming, whether they want to or not. I think people are going to have to adapt. The fact that everyone is going to be involved in gaming one way or another, whether that be on your phone, your tablet, your PC, your TV, or your console. And we're all going to be here to talk about it. And last but not least, because he's back, Slow-Mo Backslap. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, dude. Super appreciate the banter. Where could people reach out to you, strike up a conversation, and more importantly, subscribe to your outstanding and growing YouTube channel?
Hey, Boom. Excuse me. Oh, man. My voice started cracking there for a moment. Look, I always appreciate being invited to your show, man. It's always a good time. Shout out to the panel here. Dread, Everborn, Bito Cloudo over here, and Mr. Badbit. It's always a good time. I love you guys' opinions and your perspectives. It's always mad respect for you guys. Everyone else can check me out on my YouTube channel, Slow-Mo Backslap. And if you like content, subscribe. I love I talk about games of all platforms, so anything that you are interested in, you might probably find it on my channel at some point. So and I just want to say one more thing. Even though a lot of us are probably trying to figure out how to do Thanksgiving tomorrow under a pandemic, it's I'll speak for myself. Like, my family is really big on getting together for Thanksgiving. It's probably like the one holiday that everyone shows up for, and a lot of people are a little bit, down on that because you can't really gather with a big group of people right now. I would say, look, just appreciate what you have with the family that you do have, you can spend time with, and make sure that you do that and you appreciate them, because nothing's guaranteed. Your older relatives, things like that,
Exactly.
your younger relatives, you never know what might happen. So just appreciate the time you have with them, with the people that you can spend time with.
And that's a great point. And listen, folks, real quick, Tylenol Moment drops a very generous $5 super chat as we get on out of here. It says, in addition to the arguments made, I feel that Xbox giving in and putting Bethesda games on PlayStation shows a distrust in their own brand to sell. Yeah, I mean, listen, I see your point, dude. Makes a lot of sense, but I don't think you're going to see it there until Sony allows Game Pass. I think that they, like everyone was saying, they want to drive people to Game Pass, and how they do that is put games and content, just like you would subscribe to Disney Plus to watch The Mandalorian. You're not going to watch The Mandalorian on Hulu. You're not going to watch The Mandalorian on Netflix. And I think that Microsoft is well aware of that. I think that is the direction they're going. But I do want to say this in closing. Listen, tomorrow is Thanksgiving. There is a lot to be thankful for. If you are fortunate enough not to have anyone sick in your family with COVID, and you yourself haven't experienced it, be thankful. If you're going to bring food over to others, wear a mask, wear gloves, be safe, be smart. Do not be inconsiderate by having groups of 500 people to celebrate a holiday that, if we continue down this path of madness where people not giving a shit, will not be here next year. So there are going to be plenty of other holidays you can support and be with your family, but we have to get past this pandemic. The only way we can do that is if we do it the right way. So be smart and don't do anything that's inconsiderate. Folks, this has been a great show. I'll close out today's show with something I close out every show with, because it's important to me, and one day I hope that it's important to you. And it's something that my dad taught me, made me a better police officer, but more importantly, made me a better human being. And he used to say, son, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you, you're going to have an awesome day. So take care. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.